All right,
Dallas
perfectly
speaks.
timed. Hello, welcome to Rain. This is number 75.
We're here.
But I would
Yeah.
never interrupt the introduction, Loth. What are you talking about?
It's a very nasty zero. Sorry.
I was about to say that was a very
It's
long
me
silence.
taking a second to. Well, I was watching the
God
gift go
damn
by,
it.
but also I'm taking a second to rub my eyes because it's the pollen debuff. Anyway, while Loth dies, while he gets lightninged, I would like to remind you this episode is brought to you by our patrons. And the reason why I paused there to rub my eyes is because it's very hard to read the patron list without eyeballs. And I can't trust myself to say it from memory. But hey, this episode, like all of our other episodes, is brought to you in part by our patrons like Adam Harp, Lex G, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon Jimmy 1000, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, and Sharvor. Thank you very so much, patrons. Thanks everybody else for listening. Enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game.
Get to jump off that
Time to
cliff.
play
like
the
a-
game.
like a- No, wrong vibes. That should be like a chintzy early 2000s, upbeat beat. when we
Actually,
say
that reminds
Anyway,
me. I saw a. I don't care. I'm gonna tangent. Everyone else gets the tangent. I'm gonna tangent right
Go
now.
ahead.
I saw a guy I follow on Twitter, Shindig, who does a bunch of weird stuff with NBC, with OBS and streaming. He actually made it so that he put like Adult Swim style bumpers in his overlay when he's being right back. So like text just out with smooth that. So I was like, oh shit, we should do that when we do be right back. We should.
that's really cool.
Yeah, no, we should do like Adult Swim style bumpers that just say shit while we're away.
Because we love Adult
Fight.
Swim.
We do.
So that'd be great, yeah.
Now I got to figure out how
I'll
we
look
do
into
it.
that because I've played around with a few overlays because I've mentioned this before to close the circle on the tangent. For Marathon, Bungie put out like a press kit that included like a bunch of default loops of like stream starting, stream ending, be right back overlay kind of a thing. So I experimented with those in OBS and I quite like them for certain stuff. So I understand the basics of like how to import videos and set them to loop, but finding specific little kits. Nice thing to figure out about importing like starting soon music and picking one of those.
Yeah.
But we'll work on that later. We're recording this. Well, I was going to say recording it live, but it's not being broadcast live. But I'm recording the audio version, which you can get on Patreon on Audacity, just straight up.
Straight up.
And Lucky's recording the OBS output, just again straight out, no fancy scene transitions on his end. So none of that right now. But we're here. It's Rain. You are House of Logi.
Shit's
Some of
happened.
you are doing better than others.
Ow, my bones.
Yes. Actually, I think you were still muted, so I don't remember if you were listening or not, Lucky. I did double check for other reasons. The rules explicitly say when you're done with the fight, you remove half your shock damage round up. So I don't know if that adjusts any of your current amounts of shock. Don't know if that affects any amount of shock damage that Leslok has. Honestly, Leslok probably shouldn't have any shock damage left after that.
No,
Yeah,
I only
yeah.
had one shock, so and that was in my chest.
Yeah, that goes away.
Yeah.
It is
I
like
have the
total
two
shock
killing.
damage you take in the fight. So, but yeah,
I have
one
the
is
two
just
killing.
it says round up, so one goes away. All right, okay. But speaking of your injuries, we are going to begin with Nicola. Nicola, you have been telemortated,
Telemortated.
Yo. I've been absconded with.
translocated into the upper level of the keep. You recognize this? This is, the hall that's basically like just outside like the Marquess's scholar and like the rooms where you guys keep all your like personal, workshops, studies, storage areas and stuff for all the things you're working on. Your the house quarters are like just around the corner from here. There's a new window. Nicola, that's you don't remember there being standing outside access there. Wonder what happened to that wall. But before you
Not my problem.
is, Aurelia sitting down on the floor. She has kind of like across her lap the prone form of, Lady White with a stab wound in her back. And the Fairy Queen has basically just like been, like, Doctor, I have need of your services. And, she gestures at Lady White and says, your patient.
Right.
Don't know if Nicola is like being really like externally observant, being slightly bamboozled. Maybe you'd be looking around. There is a slowly melting, very thin layer of frost across everything in this room, and there are a couple of cultist corpses in here. And Aurelia is like looking up at you, like again, not really like hurt or in pain looking, but more just like, huh?
Shit's happened.
Yeah. She has a scarf pressed to the wound.
I will take over holding the pressure on the wound while I examine it, and I will ask Aurelia to go boil me some water.
Right. Where should we put my... No. She, points at Unica and says, your old room is still free. The Marquess hasn't put something in it yet.
Yet.
I will.
He's not even moved out
Is she
for a couple
safe
of
to?
months.
Is she safe to move?
If you're keeping pressure, probably. Like, I don't know if you want to close the wound first or what. But yes,
I don't wanna close
before
the wound
Aurelia,
yet.
runs off, she says,
Bit.
and be careful, besides the iron, I think she's been poisoned. And gestures at
Right.
dead guys.
Fucking assassins.
Assassino.
All right, so Aurelia will run off to
All
start,
right.
boiling some water. Probably like, starts a small fire and gets a kettle in her quarters, and you
I'm
can go
going
back to your old room.
probably immediately do an assessment via medicine to just see like what is damaged, what is wrong.
Yeah.
How many things do I need to
report
fix
on
in the
that. You roll
next
healing.
hour?
Did I file my taxes?
So that's 3 8s.
All right, yeah. So Lady White has looks like just one shock, one killing in the torso,
Okay.
and she does appear to have been poisoned.
All right.
Interestingly enough, especially because this is mechanically relevant, but she appears to be suffering only from the minor effect of Viper Toxin, which does incapacitate you for like 10 minutes, but does not mean you're at risk of death.
Death.
So it's not affecting her fully, which is kind of surprising given the state. But yeah, she is still suffering ill effects from poison. Obviously, has a couple of damage. And as mentioned, the knife was removed, which appears to be because it was made of iron or steel, which, is painful. If you check under the pressed scarf, the way I described it is that, like, the edges of her wound, glow hot like a poker that's been in a fire.
Okay. Are there only are there any cultists with still daggers on them?
Yeah.
Okay. So she only has been poisoned with what I can identify as viper toxin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Symptoms, feverish, incapacitated, not
Would
responsive.
it be safe
high
to
heartbeat.
remove the dagger?
The dagger is already removed. That's what I was saying. Is
Oh,
the
okay.
dagger has been completely removed.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Because it is iron, so that would be bad. All right. Once Aurelia gets back with the water, I'm going to have her help hold the wound closed. Or actually, hold on. Is it safe to stitch the wound at this point?
Well, you probably don't want to do it in the hall. Like I said, everything's covered in frost, which is melting. It's very damp in here. There's a draft.
You probably want to at least, inspect and clean the wound. Make sure there's nothing weird in it.
I'm gonna clean the wound once she gets back, and then I can start making an antidote using construct the antidote, or construct antidote rather.
Definitely sounds like you'll be moving her to your old room or something. I
Yes,
presume
I'm
first.
moving her to my old room.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing that
All right.
while Aurelia's getting water.
Okay. That's good. That's what we were getting at. Because there, you can set her in your
Accept that.
old bed made up and work on that. Yeah, she'll come back with the, like I said, probably like a kettle of boiled water and some clean cloth strips. Now, while you set about working on that, the rest of you, you're all standing in the outer bailey. You can, meet up. Logesh, you're, perfectly how we left you. Konrad, probably ears ringing a little because of being close to the sound of a cannonball going off.
Yes.
There's a couple of other corpses, in there, in the mix. But the person who did that is gone. They have the body is completely destroyed. And kind of on the opposite end of the courtyard, Inos, Leslok, you're standing by the gates to the main hall, with Moira kind of standing just inside the door, looking around like, hey, that guy teleported. That was weird. And in your front lawn, there's some chunks of your wall, and there's a dead guy.
Hey, Omega, what are you talking about? The guy who did all that? He's over there, and there, and there.
Oh.
He's all over the place.
Where's
Where-
Logesh so I can throw my 3 pixies at him?
Where?
No, he's unfortunately he's across the hallway. I'm pretty sure he's outside of short.
No.
Damn, okay.
Honestly, I think the first thing Logesh would do would go check on Konrad because, it looked like he took the brunt of an explosion for the other two, so go
He
check
was
up
out
on
of the
his-
radius, so I don't think Comrade at visible sign is like any actually damaged. Maybe shows the sign of an early sunburn on the back of his neck.
Ooh.
Any exposed flesh might be a little pinkened. He also tackled out of the way on Yibel, who seems mostly fine, just a little winded, and Alestra Gridarvol, Nicola's sister, who is very dazed, as I mentioned, is very bloody, but it doesn't look like her blood.
I was just saying, like, from what it looked like to Logesh, it looked like Konrad
Yeah.
had just charged into what wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just
No, what I'm saying is,
going
you
from
go over to check
what
on
Logesh
Comrade, and
saw.
like he seems whole, like I said, just other than maybe little ear ring, little tingle on the back of your neck.
Back of the shirt might be steaming a little bit.
Yeah, if you had any sweat or water on you, that's all boiled away, but it's fine. Your shirt's
The
clean.
worst that could happen.
What has happened? Where'd Nicola go? What?
Nicola's behind us.
No, it isn't.
You turn around, Nicola's not there.
No,
What?
not anymore.
What?
Conrad will get up and help Aunt Ebel and Valeria up.
Yep, sorry.
Eva kind of lean, grabs your halberd and leans on it, gets to her feet, and says, "Well, don't like that. Everyone all right?
What?
You all right?
Ugh.
Okay, got all your bits." She kind of like, like one's favorite aunt can, kind of like pats your shoulders, like looks in your looks in your eyes a little.
Looking at. Sorry.
Maybe notices like a small amount of blood in your ears. She's like, "Come on, let's get back inside." Logesh, what the bloody hell is Nicola?
I think I saw. What's the best way to describe her? What's calling her the Fair Queen? Summon her.
I call her the Good Queen. With an E.
Either way works, I think.
Yeah, I think Logesh will call her the Fair Queen because fair is similar to fairy or fae. So, the Fair Queen had quickly appeared and absconded with him. I'm assuming something happened and she needs his services.
She kind of pauses for a second, shakes his head. She's like, "All right." She points at Logesh. You're fine. Go find the Marquess.
Will do.
We're gonna wait here a second. Probably like grabs a nearby bucket and starts summoning over some of the gate guards. Will help wash some of the blood off Alestra and like hand Comrade a cool a dampened
splash the
cloth.
water.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You know, Yibo asks no one in particular, like, everyone inside? All right, raise the damn bridge. Seal it up. Start working the ancient mechanisms to raise the drawbridge. Raise the damn bridge.
I know, but just the idea. Where is it?
So yeah, Leslok, Inos, you can see, Logesh approaching you. Like I said, you're standing out there in the courtyard.
God.
I swear it's only because I remember seeing talks about Space Marine. I just want Logesh to walk and be like, brothers, what has happened here?
I mean, you can say brothers.
Yeah.
He could say, brother, you are, it is kind of how this works.
Yep. No. Okay. Yep. He will just go, brothers, what has happened here?
Inos, kind of leans against a wall with, gripping his bad arm. And it's just all like, how would he say? No, he'd just be like, it was an attack. Fucking.
Inos is real fucked up, by the way, Logesh.
Fucking.
And I just don't. Sorry.
Inos, is trying to get it out as, the adrenaline's starting to come down and he's starting to feel the pain more. It's like fucking cult fucking. Wait, actually, would Inos been able to identify the syndicate? Did he actually remember who? No, we probably.
there was Mariposa Marsh.
It's like,
Yeah, that's a pretty clear indicator.
Yeah. So fucking cultist, fucking syndicate. Inos, kind of lifts one arm shaking and points over to the outer wall. He's like, Marsh and her carburoid bodies over there.
Okay.
Inos is gonna look up and see Mora and be like, Mora, where's Aurelia?
Kind of. She does look a little. Yeah, it would be like a little concerned because Moira comes right up to you because she's gonna unsling her scarf or ribbon she's wearing and gonna turn it into like a sling real quick.
Yeah.
Apply field medicine. She's like, she's not with you? Damn, she went up front. She looks up at the hole in the keep and is just like deep sigh.
It's like,
sprints up the stairs to the residential block.
Inos,
By the way, it was supposed to be the guest quarters. I killed it. Bye.
Enos, will
You can
push
be all
himself.
about it.
Enos will push himself, off the wall and be like, "Can someone do me a favor and open up my hand? I can't let go of my knife."
Okay, yeah. So, Logesh will assist Enos to the point where. Hold on. How is Enos in terms of standing ability? Is he still leaning against a wall?
Well, he got up off the wall. He needed a moment because he's trying to catch his breath and, master the pain. But, like I said, Mora gave him a sling, so at least takes the weight off the arm. Now he's just trying to get the death grip off his hook knife. Okay,
so I think what Logesh would do, he won't do what I originally was planning on doing, which was Princess carrying Enos all the way up to where Nicola would probably be. No, he's just gonna help sling Enos's good arm around his shoulder and basically just kind of haul him up and then assist with opening up his hand.
Yeah.
So at least that way you're stable.
Yeah. Now, Enos can walk just fine.
His legs are good. His dominant arm is currently disabled.
Yes.
Yes, however, though, Logesh is just taking the extra precaution anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
despite-
Leslok, as X said in text chat, Leslok, dashes forward deeper into the keep upon hearing that. You run past, Marquess Espada, who is kind of like not stunned, standing there stunned, but he's kind of like crouched down over an Espada Cavalier who is, also clearly dead, died of gunshot. He's not injured looking, but he's clearly a little, ruffled, a little mussed. Probably, Inara Espada will eventually catch up and, go into that conversation to figure out what the hell's going on there. Because she was, out with Logesh and gang. Leslok, you blow past the entrance hall to kind of the Great Hall. So before you take a left turn into the guest quarters, there is, the party of the High King, the two princes, handfuls of cavaliers and blood shields, Cheval and like other members of the Espada party kind of crowded defensively around. It seems like there are, no more immediate battle sounds. Do you want to say anything to them about what's up? I don't know if you want to call all clear per se, but it does appear that immediate danger has passed.
I think I should say something, but I think Leslok wants to go to the assured risk is okay first.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, you're asked. Sorry, let me explicitly say that you're going to be asked what the fuck is going on. Are you saying anything? Are you ignoring everybody? Somebody's going to see you storming in and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I can't think of exactly what the role playing moment is because I've got many other things to do.
I think Leslok, he trusts the king. He's just gonna say what happened, unless everyone else thinks that's a bad fucking idea.
No, it's a good idea.
No, it's your scene.
I just can't put it into words right now. Sorry.
Well, that would be helpful.
We done got attacked by those people I talked about earlier.
Go ahead, Aren Dows.
Did you talk about?
Yeah, the syndicate in the meeting.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. You don't know about the cult stuff. He's also not here.
I don't know about the cult stuff, no.
But yeah, it's like... Fuck. Why is this hard for me?
Let's take a second. Stretch my arms for a second.
Dum dum dum.
Let's see.
There was been an attack from Syndicate and Summoners, and
Do you know about the syndicate part?
I didn't leave the room until after they finished talking.
Who?
Who finished talking?
I was in the room with Inos and I left as Inos said this thing and I left.
Oh yeah, I guess you heard it at the front door just now. Yeah. Okay.
I guess.
I was actually Inos.
Sorry, that was.
I started walking as they were talking.
Yeah, that's fair. Sorry, that took me a second to
it's like
figure
you
that out.
didn't
Yes,
necessarily put yourself in the scene, so.
Well, I didn't know how to interrupt, so I just kept going.
Yeah, it's true. He typed in the text that he was after that conversation. He was like, "By the way, I'm gonna leave." But yes, okay, you're right. That was just now. Okay. So yes, all right. So you say the syndicate. Sorry to interrupt your flow there. Anything else there?
Summoners, cult, or more of like a cult of supporters because like something happened. Like,
Axe, I think you're doing a thing where you're trying to get too fancy with your words. Use basic, simple terms. We were attacked by the syndicate who had summoners and some cultists. You can explain.
And demons.
Dallas, I really need you to shut your fucking trap when you're not in the scene. You're killing me, Smalls.
Just do what I do. Explain the situation and just say, my character would have put it more eloquently than that, but that's...
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's just like...
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think we got the gist. It's just like, even if it's just in simple terms how you Axe would describe it, how would you describe your enemies? Like, what are we enumerating to them? But, let's see. Yeah, you mentioned syndicators, summoners, witches, and something with the cult. The
upper pit is less likely to not see any of the magic directly, besides I guess the arrow in his chest. I guess that's still there, because he knows not to pull that out.
Oh yeah, there's an arrow in your chest. Don't forget about that.
It has a name written on it. It's like... Yeah,
it's got a little scroll with some squiggle sticking out of it. Anyway, we'll get to that later. This probably does kind of give everybody a little concern. But yes, the king kind of nods, nods gravely and says, then, sorry, it's me clearing my throat. He's like, very well, yes, we must retire to the guest quarters. Come, kind of follows you up the stairs. I will shorten that interaction because not to detract from Leslok's role playing, but it's going to be pretty plain because probably at like the top of that flight of steps is Nerissa armed with like a cavalry pistol and Dame Rosenrot kind of coming back down because they did not use what is it Moira's parkour hacks to like run around corners. So they're at the top wondering like what the fuck is going on.
I
think
Moira Two Swords wall hacking.
Yeah, she got a little wire foo in her.
I think Leslok's still holding Thumper. I don't think tries to shoot. I think it just goes to hug Nerissa, and he's like, "I was worried. It's good to know you're okay."
She kind of like she kind of like gently smiles and pats you on his back, and then because she's also still holding her weapon, she kind of waves it vaguely and also at her cavalier and being like, "Don't worry about me, darling, but we may need some help up here. There's some people knocked out, and there's some kind of monster, Uncle, and Miss Paloma is hurt, but everybody else I think is fine, just very scared." And kind of like you get the compressed version, which is like, "Hey, there was a Minotaur in your guest quarters. It thumped some guys. Moira killed it with a little bit of help. It's still dead over there. There's its head and one of its horns chopped off, and its body. Its axe isn't there. It's currently sitting embedded in your stone pavers in your front foyer, which is like the stone slab is like 1,000 years old.
That can wait. We should probably put all the unconscious men in irons.
There's no unconscious men here. They're your friends.
Oh, okay.
There's
We put our unconscious friends in irons.
Yeah, it's your house guards.
Okay.
They got hit with a door.
Okay. Sorry, I thought there was like other. Okay.
Oh no. Every single enemy you've encountered here, who you've hit with blades in your castle, is dead.
You know what? Fair.
Several of them are dead very badly. But yeah, so to compress all that, you, Leslok, move to the guest quarters. You get a compressed version of the story. Paloma Espada is like not walking off, but she similarly is kind of nursing her arm in her adamantine gauntlet because she learned a little things about force equals mass times acceleration type stuff, which is even if your gauntlet is technically impenetrable and reduces damage, Minotaur big.
What happens
Big
when...
Minotaur.
What happens when an unbreakable object means an unstoppable force? Well, the unbreakable object just, is unbreakable over there.
Moved. But everyone else, seems to be all right. Other than that, like, the Queen and Princess Estelle are, like, kind of shocked and concerned, but the King kind of, like, shares your story. Where I want to leave you, Leslok, is after that moment is you actually get, for, I think, the first time, like, ever independently, not just a talkback, but you get an independent call on your coin that corresponds with Aurelia. Which is basically just like, she sounds a little rushed. Like it's the coin kind of vibrates to make the sound, so it's got like a little like metallic-y, like a tinny filter over it, I would think. But she sounds like a little rushed and breathless anyway, and she's basically just like, "Hey, so we're in Nicola's old room. Nicola's here, by the way. Lady White's injured. The Fairy Queen killed some guys. I think we got them all, but yeah, there's some stuff up here. If you're wondering where Nicola is, he's here."
Oh, I'll gather the others.
Probably ends with, "Oh, hey, there's Moira." And then, yeah, you say, "I'll gather the others." So, back out in the front hall, Konrad, walked over to you guys and is like, asks what's going on with you, Inos.
Oh, Inos just says, "Well, the fire was bait. Like, it was a distraction to get people out of the Bailey, out of the keep."
What did that kind of nods to your arm.
A dog. A very big dog.
Anyone have non-expired?
The double-headed black bronze axe
Okay.
is silent. As you guys are kind of
Much for
talking,
conversation, eh?
Marquess
Where-
Espada kind of like stands and has to do it a little slow, has to kind of push on his knees a little, and he kind of walks up, and he's just like, "Man, you've accomplished yourself very well tonight. I think the High King is safe inside the quarters. And I think I heard the drawbridge called." Aunt Ewell, would stump up at this point and probably nod. And she's like, "We need to gather all our forces." He kind of looks back at, like I said, where there's a dead Espada on the floor, and then there's another Espada Cavalier who's got some scratches and cuts on his face, and has clearly his rapier is broken. He's like, "We should account for the dead and pursue if possible." He kind of pauses a second, strokes his beard a little and says, "I don't suppose any of the assailants were captured alive."
We did capture those down that were causing the fires in the city.
Inos is gonna
If
pop
they
up.
just-
I was like, syndicate thugs. Don't know if they'll actually have anything useful.
I shall,
Yes.
since it was your, or rather, since it is the House of Logi's, he does kind of he is polite enough to include all of you in that gesture. He, as he kind of nods, he says, "Since it was the House of Logi's territory that was damaged, we shall leave that matter of justice in your hands." He kind of, turns on his heel a little, looks around, and he's like, "I should speak to the Lord Marshal." He kind of, bows his head a little and says, "Excuse me," and jogs off to go see where the rest of the guys are. And I expect that probably Leslok basically catches him jogging back the other way to group up with you guys.
Yeah.
We'll just say in the entrance hall.
Konrad's kind of looking around.
Inos is
Where
gonna
the
do a check
hell-
over on Alestra.
Where the hell did
She's kind of
Nicola
breathing
go?
deep
He
a
could
little.
use his healing for Inos. He was with us, right?
perfect setup for
Logesh?
Leslok.
Guys, come over.
think
Nicola's
after the
taken by the Fairy
explo-
Queen.
Yeah, I feel like that's in character. Logesh is about to speak and just gets talked over. It's like, that.
Come on.
What?
I just imagine that Moira leans out of the hole that's in, once again, your second level. There's a hole in your wall, and she just says, "Oh, he's up here."
He's over there. Come on.
Oh, we're gonna have to do some redecorating.
Most of the people are fine.
So, just in case, thought I'd ask, you can walk fine, Inos?
It's like, yep, just. It's like my legs are fine. But Enos, will lightly slap you on the back, and well, he's staying close to a Lester right now.
Yeah, like I said, she's kind of breathing, not heavy, but breathing low and slow, calming breaths, kind of blinking a lot.
Mhm.
Wringing her hand a little.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask her "Hey, are you all right?" She's just like, "Oh yes, I'm perfectly fine. We should be concerned about you, Enos. If you sit down somewhere, I can, She makes a lay on hands gesture.
That's all. Let's meet up with your brother. I'm pretty sure you want to see him too. Yeah.
Yes, I hope he's all right. Let's go.
As a small aside, I think when Enos would pat Logesh on the back, I think he would lean in and just whisper an apology for not being here when they were attacked. But then then follow up with, "We should go see Nicola."
Honestly, Enos is not Konrad and Logesh is not the ones Enos is upset for running off into the night about.
I mean, regardless,
I know.
Logesh will still feel bad that this has happened.
Okay.
Oh, you guys jog on up to the just to speed getting all the characters in the same space together. You guys jog on up to the second level. Like I said, there's a hole in your wall. There was a dead cultist thrown through your wall. There's a couple more dead cultists up here. They seem to have been killed with blade or shot mostly. There is no longer a thin layer of frost in kind of this residential hallway. Instead, your hallway is very slightly damp. Maybe a little musty in here.
Well, there goes the
but you
security
can
closet.
quickly regroup in Nicola's old room. Where, like, Aurelia's there. Again, she looks, mostly fine. Her, like, gloves are bloody, but it's, again, clearly not hers. Lady White is lying on the floor, or not on the floor, on the bed, where Nicola, I believe, is probably trying to antidotalize her. Those of you who are paying attention to the, dark shadowed corners of the hallway,
so, Omega,
will probably see the Fairy Queen pacing there. Yes, go ahead.
just to say, I did look this up. I would have sealed the wound because it is poison, not venom, correct?
No, it's snake
Oh,
venom.
it is venom. It is.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
about to say,
But I would
poison
not
you
have
have to
sealed up the wound.
ingest. You have to eat poison.
Regardless, I would seal the wound once I've cleaned it, and then I would work on making an antidote out of whatever daggers they have lying around still coated with snake venom. Are those there?
Yeah.
Okay, then I have to make a roll. Hold on. Let me bring up the esoteric.
No,
Sorry.
several of your people were
Okay.
explicitly killed by poison. They were all poisoned blades. Probably while you're walking, Yibel will basically give you guys the damage assessment, which is like, at her count, you're down whatever original sentries on the north wall there were, probably like 2 to 4 men, depending on the towers. They're presumed dead because that was an attack over there. Lost another couple of men-at-arms at the inner gate. A couple of men-at-arms killed at the outer gate, which is now currently closed. And it sounds like at least one, probably another, down like maybe half a dozen men killed, another half dozen men, disabled. Like those 2 guys who got hit with a door, that kind of stuff. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this earlier in the runaround, but Leslok hasn't stopped moving until now. At some point in here, Everhelm's going to catch up with you with like a couple of, armed guards and be like, "Your lordship, sorry, you're hard men to catch. There's a lot of things going on."
There are.
Omega, I do have a question. I know I use morale attacks on a lot of dudes. What happened to them? Did they just flee back over the wall?
No, they did not flee over the wall. They fled around to the other corner. You don't know exactly what's happened to them. You think you recognize some of them as the dead guys up here, so it seems like they ran around the far side, and then, once they were out of your presence, they had a second to kind of be like, okay, we don't have to fight that guy. Where are we going?
Enos did get a pretty good... Sorry.
Good?
Since Enos did get a pretty good head count of all the guys that showed up off the wall, would he be able to basically, count bodies and be all like, okay, everyone I saw is here or accounted for or something?
Yes, except that there's at least one person of the people you counted splitting off who is not here. There is one body missing. Actually, no, there's technically 2 bodies missing. Aurelia hasn't told you that the Fairy Queen put one of them in the back rooms.
Oh.
So you're like, there's at least a couple of...
I mean,
the way I described it is she ripped her hands through the air and the floor turned into liquid and they fell through your floor. So that guy's gone, but you don't know that. So there's at least a couple of guys.
He's in the sunken place then. Okay.
Yeah.
This is him.
So there's at
He's
least a
learned to
couple
break
of cultists unaccounted for. What I did say, I don't know if I got my full sentence out earlier, but to remind you, what I did say is if you guys are paying attention, kind of in the corner of your vision, sitting on a slightly frostbitten couch just on the edge of everybody's corner, constantly enshadowed by the candlelight, is the fairy queen, just kind of like waiting. But you guys meet up with Nicola and Aurelia first if you have any questions or comments to exchange. And like I said, if Nicola, you roll something like herbalism or something to make an antidote, go ahead and roll those dice.
Okay, so that lets me use double 8s as gobble dice versus the potency of the poison.
I did not roll the potency. I'll say that's strong enough to remove it.
Gotcha.
Aurelia's, kind of like, washing off, and she just kind of like looks up sheepishly to be like, I'm all right. Then she's like, good Lord, Inos, what happened to you?
Oh,
then she kind of like stops herself and clenches her fist and says, damn, I should have gone out of... No, she wouldn't swear. She would say, she'd still say, I should have gone out of Bailey. But, she gestures out into the hall at the dead guys.
And it's all like, tonight was a very chaotic night. I do think that in the coming days, we will all think about things that we could have, would have, and should have done. But we didn't. And so it is
I'm sorry.
Oh no, say your thing.
As just saying this, I'm just picturing him fucking death staring at Nicola right now.
Staring at the what?
At Nicola.
Oh, done. It is more important we focus on what we are going to do. That said, he kind of, wiggles his arm and, hisses from pain. A dog bit me.
Don't wiggle it like that.
I think Alestra looks slightly green when you do that, and I will roll for her to lay on hands as soon as the Google Doc lets me tab over to my stat list.
This is filled with killing and was inside the mouth of a Kerberoy. This is probably like there might be some exposed bone here. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like you're real
probably
fucked up. You're missing a lot of flesh. Also,
On
your
the plus
arm is
side-
covered in like foul-smelling, sulfurous slubber.
On the plus side, it probably doesn't hurt anymore because I'm pretty sure all your nerves are gone.
Eno saying, "Oh yeah, it was just a dog." Meanwhile,
oh yes, no, I think people are gonna be all like, "Enos, you did what?" when they see it was a Kerberoy. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm just trying to downplay it right now.
Yeah, I think you said big dog when
Yeah.
Konrad asked.
I killed it very.
must not post butter get pictures.
Hey.
Okay, well we got 2 10s.
And
Is
2 9s
it
and 2
width
7s.
or
Crazy.
height? No, it's a pretty good roll. Just have to remember how lay on hands works. Talk amongst yourselves. Because Nicola, again, to remind everybody, Nicola's like furiously, like, he's got his little Bunsen burner out and he's like, flicking drops of poison knife into a beaker and stirring.
No, I probably looked at your arm, looked that you weren't bleeding out, and then immediately went back to what I was doing.
The spell removes with shock. Target.
Okay, so I think Logesh will look at Konrad and Neslok and Neslok.
Neslok.
Nuzlocke?
Nuzlocke. Great. That's the next
exactly
great run.
what I heard.
Anyway, Inos, you get your arm back. Remove 2 killing, 2 shock from your arm location.
All
I
right,
look
that
at my
means
cousin
I'm at
Nestle
3. That
and
means I'm at
just
okay. That means I'm at 3 killing, so it's probably staying in the sling, but I can probably at least open and close my fucking arm now. My hand, excuse me. I
Yeah,
cannot
you-
open my arm.
The bones are probably back.
Some
in
of
place.
any of your bones go back to their normal arrangement. Some of the flesh, closes up. You stop actively bleeding.
Mhm.
It's still very painful and very fucked up, but you can use it again.
But so I know this is going to be a dreadfully horrible question, but what happened?
he was that directed
Really?
towards. That's out of
I
character.
think that's just the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not answering nothing right now.
So
He's
Enos will, for his part, recount that there was the fire, and then some of us left to go deal with that. He'll then recount that Ybel spoke to Leslok about intruders going out. Inos will then explain that because he didn't want to necessarily put anyone on alert, or maybe put anyone on alert, or he went to go investigate himself, in which he saw and overheard Mariposa Marks and the cultists from the Snake Cult discussing some things. Unfortunately, he was caught at that moment and was put into battle. He was not able to stop all of them from breaking off. He was only able to stop, I think he only killed like a couple dudes and then got into battle.
Yeah, you only got like one or two.
I only got like one or two, and then it was boss time.
They're like, flee.
Yeah, so he's only able to kill a couple and then engage Mariposa Marsh. So...
And her dog.
And her dog. Little dog, too. He was not a little dog. So, with that...
That's fight Scrappy Doo.
So with that, he'll look around the room and see if anyone wants to pick up from that spot.
Nobody wants to jump in.
Let's see.
Really, and Morgan can.
There, with what Inos says, there's a look of concern, annoyance, and anger on Konrad's face.
Yeah, similarly.
It's like, yes, Inos will, I'm going to be like, yes, the fire was a distraction. But even if it was a distraction, people still could have gotten hurt.
Yeah, Aunt Ybel will kind of like pat Logesh and Konrad on the shoulder and say, don't worry about it, lads. Inos is right. It was a distraction, but... Well, maybe it's not right to say it was a distraction. It was a different sort of attack. She kind of gently squeezes your shoulder, Logesh, and says, it's just like a feint in Quattrum. If House of Logi sat in our castle and did nothing while the city burned, even if it was the oldest and least used part of it, well, that's an attack all on its own.
I understand that part, and I can see the reasoning. The part I'm trying to wrap my head around is Marquess not informing us about this when you told him about the scouts going, the sentries not reporting in.
Yeah, I don't think you sent the message, brother, until we had already heard gunshots.
Inos will speak up. Well, I think he didn't want to necessarily cause undue alarm. I'll be honest, I was actually quite foolish myself. I thought it would be, maybe, half a dozen guys coming over to do some mischief, and I could handle them easily. I was not expecting he says, a concentrated attack in such a manner.
Aurelia kind of speaks up in that moment and says, well, you're right in that brother didn't contact me, at least on my coin, until partway through, but...
I didn't see anything, because up real, when I got to the scene, there was a giant ball of darkness covering all the bodies.
Oh, he's passing the fucking buck.
A little bit. But before that, like Aurelia would say...
Before we get
I will
to...
say...
Oh, sorry.
I will say, she again gestures out into the hallway. I did see only about a dozen gentlemen, and we got most of them. I think one or two of them might have slipped away. We'll talk about that in a second. But to start from the beginning, to come back to that, I went back to the keep when I saw Aunt Ybel talking with Inos and Leslok. I figured you would take care of whatever it was, and I would see what was going on with our guests. Then, something very unpleasant happened in the back Bailey, which makes me wonder about the dog comment. She gives Inos an aside glance, because she was a lot closer to feel what intensity that spell was, so... If it was a dog, it was a very nasty dog. And so I thought to run out here. Moira was with me, obviously, but then I thought I sensed something not active but creeping into the guest quarters. I sent Moira off to handle it and tried to rush off. I ran into Nerissa there too. Sorry, Princess Nerissa, and told her about the problems. Then I went out into the front bailey. Then, she sounds quite cross when this happens. That's when the dozen of them came in through the postern gate. I still don't know how they bloody unlatched it. Hope they didn't force it. And, well, I pursued. That's when Leslok called me, and I said, trouble in the keep, sent Moira. Got a little distracted, shooting and stabbing some people, and here we are. Moira kind of, chimes in where she's, like, I imagine Moira's kind of like, because she's been here the whole time, but she's kind of like sitting with her arms crossed, back to the door, so that if anybody, untoward jumped to the front door, she would slay them post-haste. But she basically says, Yep. Went up to guest quarters. There was a bull-headed devil. He wasn't that tough. He was only a little tough. Killed him pretty good. Jogged downstairs. There was a gentleman in the front lawn with a lot of guns. I think the Marquess of Sparta called him Braith Hammerland. Anyway, fought him a little. Tried to stab him. No big deal. Inos and Leslok come in. He decides to leave, and he just, vanishes in a column of light. Now we're here.
I think.
By the way, I don't want to rush you, Nicola, with whatever you're doing, but in addition to Inos, I noticed that the Marquess has an arrow in his chest, and we should probably do something about that eventually.
I stop. I look at Leslok with the most annoyed and angry glare you've probably ever seen on my face. I grab you and I medical you. Fucking prideful fucking idiots.
It's fine waiting.
Konrad grabs Nicola by the back of the neck.
Okay.
You do not speak to him that way. Even if he did something stupid. And they lets go.
I was like, yes, You know what? No, I'm not dealing with that now. I'm in pain, and I have much to think about. So Inos is, gonna push himself off, and exit the room.
Yeah, I think Logesh would see that he can't contribute much.
Since our good doctor seems to be so disposed of, I do not think I'll be requiring his services.
Am I just quiet?
Sorry, I was trying to think of the word.
A little bit, yeah, but you also kind of tapered off there.
Okay, sorry. Since Logesh will see that he's probably not needed, and also any information he could grab, Konrad will have it, and even have more information because he did grab people from the fire area. I think Logesh would just try to make himself seem useful and just, I guess, prepare tea for everyone because he's not doing much of anything.
Right. I presume that's a medicine roll or healing roll, yeah. Nicola?
It's 2
tens then?
To healing Leslok.
Right. What's your damage amount, Leslok?
I have 2 killing in my torso.
Well, you have 1 killing then.
1 point?
It's
it converts 1 point to shock.
Per width. So, unfortunately...
Okay, yeah.
So, I guess
the damage is turned to shock is it width? 1 point. So, yes, you now have 1 shock, 1 killing, and we can say the arrow's out.
Okay. I was fine.
Is anyone else injured? Hold on.
Inos is already gone, so too late.
Well, yeah, but you said you were injured. I think that's what he's getting at.
Yeah.
I think Logesh would direct you towards Konrad to make sure he's all right.
I would ask that you go after Inos and tend to him.
Very well.
I think that ship has sailed. Let's regroup. The solo? We'll leave Nicola to his work.
No, I'll just leave the room. Is everyone? Would leaving the room
you're
cause
in
anyone
your
to
old
not be
room,
here?
bud.
I know, I'm leaving it. Look, if everyone else wants to be pissy, I get to be pissy too.
That's not how that works.
It kind of does.
Oh, is it?
If everyone's
I'm
pissed
leaving
at
the
you and you
room.
don't exactly know why they're pissed at you, I think it's usually a fair response to get pissy in turn. Like, out of character,
Hold on,
no. I
okay.
think if Nicola wants to get pissy too, no, I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's just the
It
problem
makes
is he's
sense.
getting pissy about he made the antidote, but I don't know if he's administered it, and he hasn't actually.
No, I definitely administered the antidote.
Okay,
Leave before administering
hold on.
it.
but you haven't actually
I don't-
rolled
I
to
don't even
remove
know-
any of her
Okay.
damage. Is
Okay.
the thing is what I was say. So like that. No,
I'm
no, you
going
can
to
still
do
leave if
the
you want. It's
medicine
just I'm
check.
thinking
No,
about
I'm
how
going to
like.
do the medicine check.
the-
I'm going to do the medicine check.
Okay, you did say you wanted to close the wound up before you finished, so you can roll for that
Yeah.
because that's important. I kind of wanted some other stuff to be going on while Nicola was working on this, but like I said, everybody
no,
seems to be a lot
everyone-
more kinetic all of a sudden.
Everyone decided to be in my room, so
Well, it's also where Aurelia, Moira, the Queen, and Lady White are.
no, the queen's
the queen's
downstairs.
Okay.
She's facing in the shadows of the hallway, which is
Okay. Oh, that
Evans,
queen.
okay.
Okay, yeah, no, she's outside.
Inos will probably check in on her as a matter of formality.
Okay, for
how do you do, my
for,
fair lady, as my arm is broken?
That's broken.
success.
You can remove the
Same
shock
as
and convert the killing. It'll probably take a few minutes for the antidote to kick in. So we'll check back with you in a second because I think Eno's pausing to check on the Fairy Queen. Thank you. That gives me a moment to reel this back in. Okay.
Oh god.
So, sorry to derail anybody, but it kind of sounds like we're getting ready to diaspora again anyway, so this is perfect. So, Enos, you go out. Nicola, having, done his due diligence and just waiting for the antidote to kick in, gets ready to leave as well. You turn to the Fairy Queen. She kind of acknowledges your presence with a very slight inclination of her head. What not exactly, but what general thing are you asking after her about? Just like what's your inquiry?
Oh, well, Enos would probably just. It's somewhat foolish to ask, but he'll ask if she is okay, if she needs anything, and if she can share anything of what happened in this incident.
She, nods her head gracefully and says, "Me and mine are fine. We are well enough. I apologize if mine borrowing of your doctor has caused," she would not say offense, she would say concern.
Enos kind of tilts his head at that. Borrowing. Well, you got him to where he was needed, so rather than causing concern, I do believe that we should probably we should thank you for your borrowing.
Kind of nods and says, "Very well. But thine enemies caused me offense, and therefore," she gestures to one of the guys who's dead on the ground, Enos. It's the one I described in the fiction as it. She threw something at him that looked like he was struck with a musket ball. This guy is totaled.
Ooh.
In a way that you're not sure that Aurelia could do with her pistol. So, as far as she blew him up with her mind bullets or something.
That's telekinesis, Nicola.
bullets. God damn it.
I will never not make that joke.
No, it's a great one. I love it. But yeah,
Got
so
Fuck up right now.
and she kind of gestures to the gap in your wall and says, "For the damage to thine property, I apologize. Please convey my sincerest sympathies to his lordship."
Enos will bow and it's like, I will do so. Did anyone explain how Lady White got injured? I feel like Aurelia kind of glossed over that, but I don't know if that was a glossing over intentionally or if that was just Omega, compacting the story down.
She glossed it over a little, like she said, came up here, stabbed some guys, and then she didn't explain exactly what happened, but she gestured to Lady White to kind of like indicate that was when that happened. So like Inos can probably catch the general outline, but doesn't know the specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, Aurelia is relatively unharmed.
Oh, sorry. No, Enos is like, I'm putting this together in a hit. Right, so Enos would probably think that Aurelia came up here by herself, fought a bunch of dudes. That was dangerous, so Lady White got involved, and somehow one of the guys was able to stab Lady White. Being the cultist, and it's an iron blade, it was poison, and it was steel, so she didn't like that. So, at which point because one of hers was injured, the Fairy Queen showed up and absolutely laid the smackdown on the intruders, and then to save the life of her kin, borrowed. Still doesn't actually understand that, but he's just gonna say, he's just gonna throw his hands. He's gonna throw his hand up and say Fairy Queen bullshit and call it good. And
yeah, that's right. I forgot. I'm thinking now. I'm like, oh yeah, none of you guys. I said that a guy got thrown onto your front lawn through a wall, and like everybody was just like, oh, he did. He's not going to be in Reign 3. Like nobody bothered to check that guy.
He did.
For later, just to say, when you check that guy, yeah, his like neck is like pulverized because the Fairy Queen might have broken it with her bare hands.
Oh my god, I've got the perfect image for this.
But yeah, she appears to have killed a couple of these guys. Inos, while you're putting that you're taking a second to put that together in your head. First of all, you can. I feel like you don't want to speak to Nicola for reasons, but you see him kind of like finish what he's doing and storm out of his room, and start going down the hall. Logesh has already kind of like been busying himself. From the other end comes up a trio, quartet. We'll say quartet. Yeah, it's. Would he go personally? Yeah, no, he would be the guy to go personally. So it's the High King, Marquess Espada, Duchess Cheval, and his brother, the Grand Duke, who's the Lord Marshal. Kind of like,
Oh, this is a power quartet. Fuck.
Yeah, no. As I said, it's like no. This is a big group where they kind of like come together and basically I think the king asks Inos directly. He just kind of like asks after the Marquess. Basically, he kind of only slightly sheepishly says that the guest quarters is in uproar. He would like the Marquess's presence in a quiet space where they can talk. As the what's the word people are assessing like casualties and stuff now.
Enos, will bow his head and, just ask for one moment, stroll over to Nicola's old room, pop in, and be like, cuz, I think the High King wants to have a meeting and discuss all that's happened. Perhaps you should, how big is the solar? I forget. How many people can it fit?
It would be big enough for all these people. Like, it might be... Some of the lower ranked people might have to stand, but...
Yeah, it's like...
It's a fairly spacious private place.
Might I suggest you all retire to your solar and maybe get a stiff drink?
At that point, Logesh just looks at the tray of teas made and go, oh, goddammit, even this is useless.
It's like...
Aunt Yiba will very specifically swipe a cup and drink it.
I will do
because I want to say, oh, sorry, go ahead and finish your axe.
I will do the same. I'm going to take a cup.
Okay.
Fortify.
Before that, I was going to say that not to interrupt your thought on what you're going to, if you're going to take Enos up on his offer or not, but while during that moment when kind of like Nicola steps out, Yiba will probably very quickly to you and Konrad report her version of the story. Actually, I should say Alestra probably, takes a second and then follows after Nicola. Sorry, there's a lot of NPCs here, and I don't want to forget everybody. But her version is like very, very straightforward in support. But she, reports that, they were minding the outer gate and the inner. She was minding the inner gate. Had some guys on the outer gate, with Logesh's reinforcements. They heard gunshots from the back, and that's when Everhelm took off. They realized, you weren't on the gatehouse anymore. At about that time, because that was, a couple rounds into the fight with Mariposa Marsh, a group of, the snake cultists, kind of sprinted up to the front gate. And basically she says that dispatched most of them, but one of them was clearly some kind of, powerful sorcerer and managed to kind of, get a couple extra hits in before Alestra used her sorcery to put her on the back foot, and then she kind of looks over at Konrad and then looks back at Leslok. Well, she blew up. She exploded. And then, Inos pops in and he's like, by the way, the king and the shoulder and the blah, 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 and the tea. I had to put that coda to loop that back around. So yes, once Leslok, you finish drinking the cup of tea, what are you gonna say about the meeting with the High King? Because he's asking after you.
It's a good idea. Let's go. Everyone's going.
Okay. Comrade, you've been invited, I guess, to go as well.
Change places.
All right, if you want me to go.
You saw a lot of it directly.
I saw the town directly. I didn't see any of the fighting. Konrad does seem kind of pissed about that. Also, what's that ringing? Kind of shakes his head again.
Probably the loud explosion. All right.
What happened?
So you guys kind of make your way to the Solar. Let's see. I don't know how much I want to get into. I don't want to make you guys tell the whole story again, in character again, because you've already kind of explained where everybody's at. But I imagine we start running down to the High King, pretty rapidly. Would it? Yeah, I imagine that it's probably either. Sorry, like I said, I've a couple of beats in mind for the evening. It would probably be. Yeah, no, I guess it would be. My question is, I guess. Sorry, I'm thinking big thoughts. How I want to frame this to you, so I don't feel like I'm just constantly running cutscenes, because we are kind of running some cutscenes, but also you guys are all here together mostly. Don't worry, I put my pin in Nicola. Nicola goes, ow! I stepped on a pin. No. But I'll phrase it this way. Do you want to describe the situation kind of from the top down, or in reverse order? Most recent events first, then, how it started, or start at the top and then kind of end up roughly now?
I vote the second one. What is everyone else's thoughts?
Konrad has limited knowledge about what's going on, so I'll let you guys pick.
Probably opposite. I'm sorry. I heard that, but it didn't pertain.
Do you want to start with the most recent events first and kind of work backwards, or start top down with the start and run up to current events?
I'd rather do top down, just because it gives a sense of it, sense of how everything.
All right, so Leslok, with some input from those of you who were in places personally, kind of runs through the whole situation to the High King and his little entourage there. Probably you get a couple of questions. the first things that happened is that when you get to describing the stuff on the basically the most recent stuff, and describing the you don't directly describe the Fairy Queen's intervention because you don't know about it.
There's
but,
a brief thing.
Good.
I think Leslok tries to bring up, like, I think Leslok goes to like lead it towards Inos to explain what happened. We were at the west gate, but he probably says nothing, and Leslok just moves on.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, so you say you went around to the gate, and then you start to say something, and then you reel it back in. Okay. So noted. All right. Leslok doing the fucking Frodo keep your secrets meme. But when you describe, like I said, Leslok doesn't describe the Fairy Queen's intervention directly because that wasn't described to you, but you lead in, and this time Aurelia is a little more forthcoming about, like, Lady White intervened when she ran up here, and then the Fairy Queen intercessed, and that's why, the wall and stuff. The first mention of her showing up causes, I think, Marquess Espada to kind of like make a, not like angry, but kind of like an exasperated sound, just like, oh yeah, now she shows up kind of a thing. When Aurelia describes what went on with the remaining guys, that's when I think if, like, Inos knew that at least one guy got away because of headcount reasons, right? Mm-hmm. This is when Aurelia explicitly says that she thinks one of them might have slipped out of sight. This causes Marquess Espada to kind of like throw up his hands a little and just be like, of course, she's concerned with her own matters, just let one of them get away.
Not the time for this.
But this is the time one of them is loose. And I am quite certain she could have stopped him. The solar gets very slightly, not all the way, but a little bit colder.
That's all like... oh, God. Can Inos get in a one-liner?
If you got a chance, you got to say, because, as you know, the Fairy Queen loves dramatic entrances.
It's all like, perhaps you would like to address your complaints to her directly, then, your lordship.
As she just instant transmission pops in behind him.
Not behind him, but just like... Oh, well, since Inos said it, I just imagined that, like, kind of like, leaning against the top of, like, the couch Inos has definitely slumped into. Mm-hmm. Like I said, some of you might have to stand. Enos is definitely not standing.
Enos
I can't imagine.
I'm sorry. I'm taking injury. Injury.
Yeah, no, yeah, fair. But like the candles you've lit in the room to provide light kind of like flicker for a second, and the shutters kind of like not really shake but like rattle a little. And she's just kind of leaning against the couch, and she says, "Your lordship, are you implying perhaps some fault in mine actions?" Marquess Espada kind of like squares his shoulders a little and says, "I will not say fault, but I meant what I said. You would clearly possess the power to capture one of these men. And I will not speak to the Marquess Logi, but he kind of just like glances like further down the wall at the hole, and just kind of like, you can tell he's mentally thinking like, I don't know if you've talked about that yet, ma'am, but that was also probably a little much. That wall was ancient." He knows about fortifications, okay?
Yeah, of course.
I assume many of you look to the Fairy Queen for a response. At this point.
Enos does not find.
I do not. I am asking Leslok something. So, my lord, do you want me to go see if I can track the last man down?
Oh, you give me such a good segue. Hold on, Leslok. Hold that thought. Just to prevent people from repeating themselves. So, Comrade asks that quietly. At the same time, the Fairy Queen kind of like leans forward a little. It's a little chilly over your shoulder, Enos. It's okay. It's cooling menthol sensation.
It's numbing.
Ooh.
But
Ugh.
she says, those of you who do look at her, she smiles a bit like a cat that caught perhaps some sort of canary and says, "Very well.
Oh shit, we're bringing the guy back from the back rooms.
Yup.
If mine personal action, it is mine personal action which caused interference tonight, and if I have given personal offense, then there is only one recompense. Pardon me, my lords." She gets up from where she's leaning and physically walks out of the solar. Some of you may want to go around the corner and look after her. Some of you may want to ask what she means by that. But as she does,
house, yeah.
you hear her footsteps change. Like normally her footsteps are basically silent. She's barefoot. Her walking is very rapidly replaced with the click of what can only be boots.
Oh.
But Leslok, you were saying you want to poke your head out the door and see what's going on?
I feel like I need to at least see what she's doing before she leaves. It's dramatic.
Do you want to ask her what are you doing?
I feel like he's going to politely. It's just like, Queenship, what do you intend to do?
So when you stick your head out, her outfit has changed. She was still dressed for the feast before. Now the Fairy Queen is wearing what can only be described as a exaggerated costume for hunting. She has the little tricorn hat. She has a big, long, suitably billowy cloak. She's wearing, cavalry boots, which means that she's probably again, 7 feet tall now. Because she's already basketballer tall.
This is the only
Big
later movie
collar.
I can find.
Yeah, kind of. Big collar, mantled cloak. And she just, turns, nods her head to you and says, "There is only one thing to do when this matters. We must summon the Wild Hunt." When she says that, thunder crash. It is suddenly storming outside, pouring with rain. And she sets off towards the courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Leslok's eyes are a bit wide right now. It's like, okay.
Inos is going to say, well, I'm pretty sure he's heard the thunder, and Inos is not innocent, and he can understand. He's all like, well, Espada's a Marquess, right?
Yes.
You will get what you asked for, and so much more. I hope you will not be shy when it comes for repayment, though.
The Marquess looks a little kind of probably a little nonplussed, a little ambivalent, kind of, mixed emotions at Inos, kind of quirks an eyebrow. So, she's skedoodled out. Comrade, you may have to remind Leslok about your question because he was clearly distracted by something freaky going on. Because it's very loud and rainy all of a sudden.
If you want to track them down, you're free to. So I don't know if you want to compete with the Wild Hunt.
You don't know your brother at all, do you?
Is that a challenge?
You're not
I
here. You
hear?
left.
Oh no, that was Dallas speaking. That wasn't Nicola
Okay.
speaking.
That's fair. That's fair. Dallas is allowed to speak.
I don't even know why I'm putting my hands up in a T to speak out of context because you guys can't fucking see.
Yeah,
that
we
shit.
can't see you. T for timeout.
I know.
It's a great sign, but I can't see it.
I don't even know why I'm doing it, but yeah.
So I'll phrase this another way. There's gonna be some cool Wild Hunt stuff happening in the courtyard. Does anyone want to go look at that?
I feel like
I really don't want to be... Inos is pretty much done with everyone at this point, so yeah, sure. He wants to go see some freaky shit. He just wants the night be
All
over
right.
so he can stop.
Yeah.
But if he's going to go see
Since-
something cool, he's going to go see something cool. He's just going to leave. He won't even excuse himself from the lords and ladies.
Honestly, I think Logesh will go as well because, as I've said before, Konrad can say what he was going to say anyway in terms of information. So yeah, he will also leave.
Well, Conrad's trying to give himself an excuse to go hunt some guys.
Brother, go.
No, now I can't.
Never mind. Okay,
Too
out of
spooky.
No,
character.
no. You left.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, he's
I
saying
didn't
that
realize-
about him hunting.
Like, yeah, I'm not. I as a player is not mad. Konrad might be a little bit annoyed, but someone has to be here to recount what happened in the town. So
Okay.
Well, I will say, I mean, you can still give your first person narration, but remember, this is when I said that comment earlier about are you starting most recent or are you starting top down? So, Leslok has basically already summarized and probably asked you for input about like what was going on in town.
okay.
The Marquess Espada may still have some questions about the guys you captured, but I feel like that will be rude to bring up right now. So, Inos, Logesh at least are going to go look at the courtyard and see what's up.
Konrad will stay with
Ooh,
Leslok.
pretty.
Yeah.
Leslok's going to, I guess, just like lead into Conrad, and be like, "Do you want to compete with the hunt? Be truthful."
No,
All right.
even thinking about it gives me a headache. Ugh.
Still thinking that Conrad's head is still ringing. He's like, oh yeah, that headache. Ugh, ugh.
Okay, the fog in my I wasn't having a headache, but it was like I felt like my head was in a fog, so like it's clearing up now. But like, ugh.
We're being wild. We're being wacky.
Also, who knows what the wild hunt would do if Konrad went chasing after the same quarry as them?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Ah, fair game, I see. Nox arrow.
Well, that's an interesting one. So, hey, Nicola, you don't make it back to your house yet. You're in the courtyard.
He gets
'Cause you gotta
taken
start to-
again!
No, you don't get taken. But I remember I said earlier the drawbridge is up, so it's gonna take a while for you to get let out of the castle.
I look
I'm
at the
totally. By the way, I'm
drawbridge.
narking Dallas. Dallas said that Nicola's gonna take his things and go home and go to bed.
Yep.
But he can't make it all the way there. So you're like bogged down, in the inner gate as this happens. So to describe to the gang, what's going on. Also, by the way, if anybody wants to, does anybody have? I'll ask for one skill first, and then for the probably the skill you guys do have. Did anybody get student occult?
A cult?
Yep. Can I roll?
Oh, Nicola, you have a little occult.
Oh yeah, I've had knowledge of cult since the time skip.
I feel
Yeah,
this
that feels like
is
something.
correct.
That doesn't sound quite right, but
Since
Maybe not since the time
Logi since after Logi got murdered by the snake cult.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I feel like I do recall Dallas once upon a time saying he got a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah, a cult.
That's
I
fair.
also...
okay.
I probably
this
should
is
get a
real.
cult.
Oh,
at some
you also
point,
have
but not
cult?
now.
Okay. You can roll
No,
a
no,
cult.
I don't
The
have
other
it.
skill
I'm-
I would ask for, which Enos probably has, is allied tribes, allied kindred.
I have that, yes.
Yeah.
See if you know anything about the wild hunt.
I
And Nicola can
probably
roll because he will see some stuff about this in a second.
I feel like I go to the drawbridge, I look at it, it's pulled up, I'm like, oh fucking hell. I turn around and the wild hunt's behind me, I go,
Oh.
Yeah, you like look out the inner gate and see that the outer gate is closed, the drawbridge is up, and you just go, and then torrential downpouring rain.
well, 3/4.
And you're like, as if my night couldn't get any worse. Then the wild hunt shows up. But so, Lady White has described vaguely what the wild hunt is to you guys before. They are the personal guard and enforcers of the Fairy Queen. Specifically, they are the people she calls on when it is a matter of personal honor that is brought into question, separate from her fairy government kind of a thing. The wild hunt follows some, fairly simple rules, which is basically if you flee, you're chased. If you can escape until dawn, you're free, but if you're caught, you are subject to the Hunter Queen, which is one of the Fairy Queen's aliases. If you stand and fight, well, you'll fight and you'll probably die. If you join or otherwise aid the hunt, you are rewarded with riches, but, fairy gold is subject to all kinds of other tricks. You can repel the hunt by asking them for salt or iron, which is the thing they can't give you, by throwing cold iron or steel before you, or by giving them gifts of beer or bread. And they, according to circumstance, they cannot interfere with those, quote-unquote, without sin, i.e. the truly innocent. Those who lay flat on the ground, like entirely, or who walk in the exact center of a road, for that is the domain of the Woodlord, roads. They can't enter a house uninvited, but the hunt usually travels with such winds, rains, and thunders that unsecured doors and windows are blown open. Like I said, literally the shutters are in the Solar are probably going to blow open in a dramatic moment. So
I'm totally gonna build a Spada for any damages here. He instigated this bullshit.
so Leslok and Konrad can probably look out.
Yeah, we have.
But
No.
that's fair. You don't want to look out. It's a little spooky out there.
I
Unless
was
one
gonna-
has iron over their door. This is why in Ferretti lands they hang horseshoes over their door, by the way. Now, the hunt will hunt humans who violate their conditions, but they primarily focus on escaped souls, off-duty devils, and other monstrum. So, the queen, Inos and Logesh following, watching, Nicola turning to see, in her hunting costume, pushes open, the front doors and steps out. Out in the courtyard is a huge cadre of dozens of fairies. There are many she knights, guards clad in pitch black mail, some of them with, elk horned helmets, some of them clad in nothing but woad body paint and wolf skins, wielding spears carved from tree branches. You see the shadows of, tall, gnarled, muscled trolls, tiny, sharp, pointy goblins. There's probably a dozen, black dogs hiding in the shadows, growling and stamping their feet. There are little sprites or pixies clad in their own tiny armor, hovering around, glowing different colors. If you look closely, you might see, standing in the back of the crowd, one or two of what appear to be 2-foot-tall mice in plate mail.
Yeah.
Sick.
There might even be a all too telltale red beret in the crowd there somewhere. Also, by the way, despite the fact that it is now suddenly thunderstorming, visible in the sky is the moon, which was full and is now a bright orange cast.
Oh, great. A fucking hunter's moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
So she kind of, steps out of the lawn and she just says, "My friends, thank you for joining me. I have called you all here to hunt." Now, she, reaches into her cloak and pulls out a strip of the cloth the, whatchamacallit, the cultists were clad in, a kind of coarse red cloth, and kind of throws it out to the crowd where, one of some of the guys grab it and study it, and the black dogs sniff it and stuff. "We are looking for some men clad thusly. This shall have the scent." Sorry, that's me accidentally brushing my Ethernet cable. Uh-oh.
No.
Luckily, nothing seems to be a problem, but I bumped it with my foot. And she says, you all know the rules, so we shall set out. Now, bring me a horse and some implements. Actually, yeah, she would call it directly to this fairy by name. She's like, let me looking for where my note is written. She's like, Ingolver, where are you? So, now you were like lickety split on that. A fae, an elf-looking gentleman, who he's a little unusual for an elf. He's kind of like square shouldered. He has kind of a big mustache. Facial hair being very rare among elves, and all of his hair is kind of in a gray cast. He's got it kind of slicked back. Looks like his nose has been broken a couple of times. Well, excuse me. He shows up leading a just huge black destrier type horse. The fairy queen kind of accepts the rein. He holds out to her first a hard silver saber. So she kind of draws, like a cavalry saber, but it's made of metagrease. She kind of draws it, tests it, sets it, and he says, "Excellent work as always." And the rest, and he kind of actually from his own, because he's kind of clad in bits of blackened armor and like what looked like almost like smithing tools, big gloves, apron, sort of a thing. He holds up what looks like a fairy attempt to replicate a carbine. It's kind of like dark wood furnishing. The barrel is clearly made from metagrease and in kind of an odd like hexagonal shape. But he kind of very delicately opens up a case and hands it to her. She kind of pulls it out, checks the hammer, and says, "Oh, excellent craftsmanship." And the shot, he holds up in the case and says, kind of in a again slightly rough voice for an elf. He's like, "I can't go out with the right stuff. This is made with fulminating silver, quicksilver, but it'll be good enough, my Majesty." Kind of picks up like a cluster of little silvered bullets and tucks them away. Adjusts the hammer, kind of holds it out one-handed and looks down the sight. I think kind of turns back to where Logesh and Inos are standing. I assume you guys are standing inside the building, so you're not getting rained on.
Yes. Well, at least I am.
No, Inos is numb. He's out. He actually went out into the courtyard.
Right.
He has
So
no
she kind of
fears.
like shoots in a side glance at you, Enos, and says, "I always have immense respect for the way that the children of man can improve upon devices for killing." Kind of sets it in the saddle. Before she mounts.
Russian Badger thing reloads with malicious intent.
Yeah. But before she mounts the horse, she calls out and says, "One more thing. Georgette, where are you?" So, Enos, standing kind of right next to you, there is an incredibly short fairy. She's like under 5 feet, you would say. Clad in a kind of like orangish or yellowish kind of like hooded cloak, like complete wraparound, kind of like a modern raincoat, but it's not made out of like synthetics. You don't know what it's made out of at a glance. And she's got, sorry, that's me covering my face because she has a mask, like a wooden mask, kind of covering her face, but there are bits of what looks like random bits of like scrap iron nailed into it to kind of give spooky jack-o'-lantern mask kind of look to it, like jagged teeth and sharp eye points and stuff. And in addition, the arms and legs of this fairy are clad in gauntlets that are at least partially made of what is clearly cast iron. The fairy queen, kind of looks down at her and says, "Georgette, there is someone recovering here who I would prefer you to look in on. And perhaps make sure that her physician does not stray too far. You will find her," and she describes, the route to Nicola's room. The fairy just kind of like snaps an arm up in a salute, which makes a big clank noise. "You got it, boss."
God damn it.
I will look. Can I hear any of that?
Yeah. You can hear it despite the fact that it's storming out.
I will.
Also,
look.
actually, Inos, because you said you walk out into the night, you can clearly tell. So it's like pouring with rain, right?
Mhm.
The Fairy Queen's not like soaked at all.
I am not surprised.
Yeah,
a
no,
fairy
that does even register. It's like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
She can do whatever the fuck.
Enos will note it, but he's going to put that under. I say a lot, but Fairy Queen bullshit. Once you just accept that she does the impossible, like nothing seems weird, I guess.
Yeah, but no, Nicola will look visibly embarrassed and hurry back to his room.
By the way, I'm not sure if he's
Alestra,
saying
like,
this.
standing in the doorway, catches you, run back, rolls her eyes, shuffles back after you.
Should
All
I
right.
unmute Dallas now?
Yeah.
If you want to. I haven't heard any side noise.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he was chewing still or not.
I think the ratio of Dallas chewing is not what you think it is, but he does rustle some things on his desk sometimes. Anyway,
Okay, to give Loth so he doesn't think he's going insane. I do have a habit of chewing to focus myself on just like rubber things around my table. I'm sorry that you can pick that up.
Okay,
Not even
so
food. I'm just literally just chewing. So I won't do
Okay,
that.
so- I apologize. I did not know that was what was happening. As someone
No,
who
no, you're not
chews
crazy.
on the fucking lids of bottles, I understand. But
No, I do that
yeah,
too. I do.
I'm a
I do
pen
with
chewer.
it. Oh my
So
god, I do it with
but I
everything.
try not to do it while
That's why I
speaking so
have
much.
specific things.
I was just like, I say something and then just nothing from you. I'm like, okay, never mind. I'll just do it myself.
Sorry. My
Nah,
bad.
But yes, so I mean, it's
Back to
reading
the
up. So
plot.
yes, so, kind of all that said, again, the fairy kind of snaps a salute. The Fairy Queen steps up onto her horse, and kind of turns back to where Logesh and Inos are, and is like, "Gentlemen, will you be joining us this evening?"
Oh, an actual invitation. You know what? Fuck it. Logesh isn't doing anything anymore.
Enos is all like, I do not like leaving loose ends. It's all like,
Kind of,
if the Fairy Queen
touches
would
her
have us.
chest and kind of nods. Says, "Well, when the hunt is called, all who answer may come." She probably does say that loud enough so that if where Comrade is up on the solar, like I said, because all your shutters are blown in, you can hear that too. So he can think
I
about how he feels
imagine-
about that one.
I imagine just the small side to Enos. Like, I see you're giving them a handicap, referring to his arm.
It's all like, Enos pats his pats his chain. It's like, I'll make do. Where's my horse?
Fetch me musket. Sorry.
She just, whistles, and, there's two more fairy horses here.
Enos says nothing. He just picks the closest one and mounts up.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, let's see. I literally wrote a new spell for this. Yes. Hunter's Cloak.
Oh no.
All right. So, the Fairy Queen, like I said, she kind of, puts a hand to her breast and nods. And she kind of like, reaches over when you climb on the horse, taps you on the shoulder, Enos. You get. I should roll dice for this, so I'll roll.
Why is my brain picturing that Enos is going to end up with like a fucking grass arm like Finn did in Adventure Time?
Nah.
No.
don't know why.
This is not the heal. Oh, is it? Hold on. Is this height or
He's
width?
not allowed to steal my shit.
I'm not stealing this shit. But Enos does not like leaving loose ends.
We'll see. That's
a lot of
fours.
pairs.
So, for 3 hours, Enos, you get plus master die on scrutinize, and plus master die on ride.
Oh.
Hey.
As a little a forest green cloak, kind of like where she like taps you, just kind of magically settles onto your shoulders. Logesh, I assume you're going to mount a horse as well.
Yeah.
Kind of, again, nods, makes a gesture, taps you. I'll roll 10d10 again to see what the width is.
I should probably just take advice from previous. I should do this right.
A 3 widths? No, 3 5s. Okay. You also get 3 hours.
Rad.
Yay.
And I wanted to say earlier, because you stepped away, I don't know if you heard Aren. The Fairy Queen did say that anyone who wishes can join the hunt loud enough that Konrad could hear. I don't know how he...
Yeah, I said I'm fine. I'm staying.
Okay. I just wanted to check in. I do kind of feel like joining a supernatural hunt kind of like does seem kind of against Conrad's ethos a little.
But no, I'm gonna do it. Let's see. I guess let's see. It says no.
Wait,
I'm gonna say
is
you
Leslok
gonna pipe
thinking
up and
of
you
joining
join
the
in?
hunt?
No, I'm telling Conrad to go join the.
Well, let's see what
It's
he
an
thinks.
old
Conrad.
go join the hunt.
Okay.
A hunter must hunt.
If you insist, brother.
Make sure someone at least is like watching both. Leslok.
Oh, that's long.
Fucking
I'm
fun.
not-
You're Leslok.
I know.
Sorry.
I was gonna try to say.
I'm sure Logesh
Inos
can
and
watch
Logesh.
over the both of us. Konrad will then head down to join the hunt.
I feel like I made it perfectly clear, like, Logesh's reason for going.
I know. It's just that Leslok feels weird about how like he couldn't do anything to like stop Inos from getting horribly injured. So it's like, all right, I gotta do something because like but I really should be joining the hunt. Like, I'm gonna do.
You are being interviewed? There is the fucking High King there in the room with you. That would be the height of rude.
Yes. Also, there's a whole thing about how I need to be ordering my brother around more because that's the whole thing we keep talking about.
Yeah, true.
Also, I'm gonna be real. How often how many chances in your life do you have to ride with the wild hunt?
Well, we'll see how many you guys rack up.
We'll see.
So, also, minor thing I didn't say, but slightly, a bit of a shame that Konrad is going, because, hey, I could have lorded over I went on a wild hunt, and none of my cousins did, because, hey, remember my craving?
Well, now you get your craving now to do better at the hunt.
All right.
The
so
Fairy
Conrad
Queen's here.
yes,
I don't think we're
but
doing that
joining?
great at the hunt.
If neither of you went, I still could have been like, I went on one.
Yeah.
All right, I stood up for a second. So Conrad is going.
Yeah.
All right. I was figuring that, but I want to make sure because I'm rolling 10d10s again.
Yeah.
It's like almost a straight. That's 6s. That's only like 2 hours. Wild.
It's like
But
a
yes,
player select function. Konrad just materializes next to us.
No fighter.
Find party. Konrad appears. What?
We did a
Oh,
party
good.
kill.
Yeah, that's plus
DPS.
MD on scrutinize and plus MD on ride. You also get like a little forest green cloak wrapped around you, and then the fairy queen just kind of like points forward and says, "Very well, ladies and gentlemen, let the hunt begin." And just with hooping, hollering, howling of wolves and all kinds of other things. These fairies just kind of like not quite explode, but like bound and leap. The fairy queen takes her horse, rushes straight for the inner gate out there, the outer gate. Drawbridges are down. Who gives a fuck? The horse jumps over the gate and storms off. And so you guys join the hunt. So. Again, not knowing if anybody would bite on this, there's not a lot of detailed written into it. But basically, until dawn, the wild hunt's going to be rattling around. Don't need to worry about any follow-up fires because it pours with rain. Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening kind of a thing. But yeah, you guys are just riding out here looking for guys. There are a handful of snake cultists around. I'm going to tell you. all of them, when confronted, would choose to stand and fight, which means it's a fight. So they're probably going to get shanked. While you guys are riding high and wild, in the middle of a thunderstorm, is there any real thought to restraint from the party members?
Inos would probably ask if he can take... one alive, at the very least. It's like...
Oh, you can try.
I will try.
What would you like to do to try and capture? Because like I said, the rules of the Wild Heart are if you run, you get chased. If you fight, if you stand, you fight. And the fairies are not really using kid gloves, so...
Oh, Inos would probably move to fight one of them. Like, do they well, forgive me. When it says fight, does like one knight get down and like fight the man? Or does everyone just kind of
kind of like it depends kind of on how it goes. Like usually it is you'll find a target. Like most people go inside their houses and homes and close their doors. Mm-hmm. And, the Fairy Queen specifically, remunerated the rules about, not attacking the innocent and stuff, and we're looking for a specific guy. So people who just kind of stand around and look up, mostly get passed over, especially if they lay flat on the ground. But if you see a couple of these snake cultists, like, running across rooftops or, like, sprinting down streets, the knights will be like, there's a guy, and probably break off at least a couple of them to chase. And then it's kind of like that. Like, nobody ever says, fight or flee out loud, but you just feel like there's this moment where they have to pick. All of the serpent cultists would pick fight, so they would, turn around and draw their weapons. Usually the way that would work is whatever of the Wild Hunt riders is closest probably just, runs them down and kills them. Mm-hmm. Some of them might decide to, jump off their horses. Some of them are on foot and, would try and beset these people with dogs. You probably catch a few Smith boys, by the way, who are still alive and were no longer... the Smith boys were gone, but Smith boys are still around. Those guys are dead now.
Yeah, they're dead, whatever. Inos will probably try to outrace some of the fairy knights to get to the guys first so he could, take them. At which point he'd probably...
Go ahead and roll ride with your mastery die.
Yeah. At that point, he'd probably try to use his chains to either capture or knock them unconscious immediately rather than outright killing them. But let's see here. Can Inos
Aren, Loth, any of your thoughts on this? I started saying something earlier.
Probably pretty much the same thing, just trying to engage one of them before any of the fairies can.
All right, you also roll ride with a mastery die because you are blessed.
Yes, if... blah, blah, blah. Does Inos make his intentions known to the other two of us?
Unfortunately, Inos is not actually explaining this out loud. He said he's still kind of in a funk.
So,
But that'll be a pair of 10s for Inos.
Right.
I think how Logesh would do this, what he would do, is he would safely assume that Konrad or Inos would try to capture one of these guys alive, in which case, he's just going to let loose and just join the hunt and kill these people that he tracks down. Not any that the others are hunting.
All right, roll whatever weapon pool you'd like for that. Logesh, that's the guy I'm looking for. 8, it's okay. That's still pretty good. I probably was thinking something like a difficulty 5 to see if you can outrace the knights. All right. So Inos is going to roll chain to immobilize one of these guys. Konrad, what tactic are you going to do to try and catch this guy alive?
When he pulls out his poison weapon, I'm gonna destroy the blade. With
you're gonna shatter his weapons. Okay,
yeah, shatter it.
All right, roll your appropriate move. Logesh, you are having a great time. You're killing.
Having a good time. Having a good
Well, that's
Having a
gonna be
good
3
time.
10s.
Okay, I think you've captured a guy.
Yeah.
Come on, Konrad, 3 10s.
I don't want 10s, actually.
You got him!
But there is 3 10s!
Or 4/7 technically.
What is? One second. Where's the damn?
The streak.
3 and 4 would be hands. They technically are dual wielding knives, so
Yeah.
3 and 4 would be left hand. They're dual wielding knives. So that would definitely be one of the armas.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't want to. You've succeeded. I don't want to make you roll a second time to shatter his literal second knife. So, basically, the way this works is that by dawn, Inos and Konrad will come back to the keep because we're not going to go quite yet because I have the thing with Nicola coming back to go through. But we'll finish out this sequence because you guys are occupied for the rest of the night.
Yes.
At dawn the next day, Inos, Konrad, Logesh just kind of like show back up in the keep. You guys aren't sure when you came back. Your horses are gone. All that's left of your green cloaks is just like tatters, which are just enough to cover your shoulders. Inos, you got one snake cultist, bundled up under your arm, wrapped up in your chain. Konrad, you've got another one who's been, had their weapons shattered and probably been punched in the face a couple of times.
Yes.
Slung under the other arm. Logesh doesn't have any prisoners, but his Bardiche is suspiciously wet with blood.
Mm-hmm.
As he appears to have settled the score with a few people out there, and that's where you guys are at. You also earlier tonight captured a couple of syndicate bozos. We will run through that stuff, I think, in kind of the aftermath.
I had to post it. It's appropriate.
No, it's pretty good. Let's do Nicola first, and then see if Leslok's got stuff going on. So Nicola, you're on your way back to your room. Like I said, Alestra, slightly annoyed in tow because you can't make up your damn mind. She's not saying that part yet. But you're just like, ascending the steps to your room when all of a sudden there's just, again, probably actually, yeah, you saw her. So there's that fairy in the, the big cloak, just clank, 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 making, Minecraft armor sounds next to you. And she's just like, hey. What are you doing?
Apparently getting my head out of my ass.
Why is that so funny to me?
She makes no sound, but just looks at you again with this, like, caricature. Actually, no. She would push up the mask, so you see this fairy is, like, for presumably a pretty, important fairy to be assigned this task. Very baby-faced. Let me actually see. A little taller than that. Like I said, she's like sub 5 foot, but not by much. Let me actually grab. Do I have her physical description in my Dratus?
I'm just picturing like the basically the VV like face they have underneath all their like clothing and armor. And then when they lift the helmet, you see proper baby face.
Yeah. So let's see. Yes. Pale skin, which depending on the light might look a little yellowy or green tinged. Kind of like short. Fits under her hood. Kind of dirty blonde hair. Big lambent colored eyes. Like her irises are kind of the shade of orange that a ripe pumpkin is, and she has slit pupils like a cat. And no matter how she holds her mouth, you always see like at least one of her little canine teeth, if not both, poking out. And she's just like, that's good. That's a good place for it. Let's go.
Give a wry grin as I head on. I assumably follow them to Lady White's room.
Yeah. So there, mask. Actually, no. She would probably lower the mask, but then she raises it again when she sees it. She rushes up to Lady White's bedside. I presume everybody watching is at least familiar with the meme of it from Kingdom Hearts 2, if not the thing itself. But hey, you remember the intro to Kingdom Hearts 2 when they're like, is gone. And they like speak and like the sound doesn't work properly. She says, "Oh, my sweet, blank. Oh, blank. What have they done to you? Doctor, you gotta fix her. What do you need? She whips back her cloak. She's wearing a dirty kind of like apron or tool harness with like a bunch of random pouches, and she like opens them up, rummages inside, pulls out a pair of scissors. No, puts those back. No, that's not it. Pulls out a hammer, puts it back in. She's gonna do that for a couple of seconds, so you have a chance to respond.
No, the dear lady is healing quite well. I just should not have left her unattended.
Yep.
It was mostly poison. That is out of her system. She just needs to recover.
From the bed, Lady White speaks very quietly, and she says, "And yes, Georgette, that's very ironic. Please do not mention it." I wasn't going to say anything. She points at Nicola and says, "But you're right. Because if you'd left," lowers the mask, which, instantly gives her, like, fucking scarecrow eyes, like glowing, eyes behind the mask. "I would have had to catch ya."
And I have no doubt you would have.
You're damn right I would. Do you know who I am?
No, but I know you're important.
Well, mask come up. "Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Georgette Ironhands. The title my queen has bestowed on me is the Knight of Fortitude. And I'm the boss of the Goblin Brigade, too."
Oh, God. My knees would have been destroyed.
"Some say I'm the strongest fairy knight there is."
I don't
And,
doubt that.
she holds up her iron gauntlet and kind of flexes it. Yes, no, this is not just a goblin. This is the Goblin
goblin.
Boss. I'm the boss of the Goblin Brigade.
Oh god, sees. I made a Loth joke.
No, a Loth joke would have been something I imagine similar. Yeah, that one Lucky's thinking.
I won't comment. No comment.
Like, Lucky knows me.
But like she to say some cool things about Georgette Ironhands. Nicola, now that you're in close proximity, the cloak she is wearing appears to be woven from dragon scales. She's wearing a dragon scale cloak. She is clearly wearing, like, they're leather backed so it doesn't touch her skin, but she has iron gauntlets and boots. And also, Nicola, you know things about magic. There's something clearly supernatural about those tool pouches she wears, because you swear she reaches into the same pouch every time and pulls out another weird object, including, like, various metal and wooden tools, and even, like, at one point a roll of dirty bandages, and just like, stuff it back in.
I let my anger get the better of me, which is completely inappropriate for a doctor. It's been a long night.
I think, Georgette just kind of like leans back, looks up, and she's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be longer for some."
True enough.
Been a while since you called the Wild Hunt. "And all for you, babe." Points at Lady White. Winky face. Lady White seems kind of nonplussed. "She shouldn't concern herself. It's just a little stab wound." You're out of practice." "I'm sure she got those guys the what for?" Georgette kind of shadow boxes for a second. "Anyway, until you get better, I'm gonna watch."
I look at the window, the new window. She definitely did.
Just imagining, Georgia just kind of looks up at you, Nicola, and says, "That's nothing. You should see her when she's really mad."
I'd rather not.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that,
you
that
probably
fucking,
keel over dead from her magnificence.
that fucking little laugh that you did, Omega, just made me think of that moment from Snow White. The fucking evil queen as the witch going down the cellar.
I like this tiny goblin.
I feel like at some point Lady White would have to, because I'm trying to think of the place to have to say, "Ah, yes, Dame Ironhands, she's very important. This is one of the Fairy Queen's 4 virtues.
What?
Her most powerful knights."
Oh my god, she's an anime she's an anime protagonist.
Yeah, she's one of the Fairy Queen's 4 heavenly kings.
Yeah, I'm about to say she's one of the
Yeah, I
two
was about to
Tenos.
say.
She's the leader of one of the 4 fairy types.
Yeah, well, I would assume 4 because there's more than 4, so I would assume like she is the most powerful of one of the leaders. She's one of the 4 most powerful leaders.
Like, if the Fairy Queen was the bad guy, she's one of the 4 big bads you're gonna fight before
Oh yeah,
her.
100%. But nah, goblins are hilarious.
You're being controlled the Goblin Forest.
Yep.
Actually, wasn't that one crazy lady who we hate a goblin, technically?
Yeah.
Redcap.
She did
Yeah,
say she
no.
was a goblin captain, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She did not look as goblin-y as Georgette Ironhands,
Yeah.
but fairies are weird.
This is the preferred energy for goblins. Less mean, more
Gremlin.
chaos. Yeah, more gremlin. Is that racist? That feels racist.
Sadly,
Nah, it's fine.
my
That's
view
what
of
I'm doing here.
goblins has been largely skewed thanks to my real life DM, who has done wonderfully well of playing goblins in our campaigns. As I watched 3 of them go, "No, see, this thing is trapped," and immediately run into the trap to show that it's trapped.
Georgette Ironhands would run into the trap, but she would emerge unharmed.
No, those guys were fucking incinerated.
Okay. But they
You know, this is a goblin barbarian, or actually
Monk,
potentially monk. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, she's barehanded, but she's like... But yeah, Lady White seems to be awake, so I don't know if you wanna, question her any about what's going on.
I'll basically just be like, do you feel any symptoms from the poison? Do you need anything?
No, I'm quite all right. It was just a momentary distraction. Thank you for the bandage, though. The iron is still the tricky part.
I will attend to her as I would any patient, and try and awkwardly not think about how stupid I was.
Just imagining Georgette in the back with her arms folded, nodding. Yeah, you was dumb.
Yeah.
Nicola would be like,
Nicola
"Hey, that was an
does not
inside
think
thought,"
you-
and it's like,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter.
I know what that looks like. I've had that thought many times. Wait, hold on. I didn't say that.
Hold on a second.
No.
I had a long career to become the strongest fairy.
The
look.
strongest and the fightiest.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to stop.
Nicola is properly chastised.
I'm just imagining, like, at some point, you kind of sit down and just Georgette kind of just, reaches into her like pouch and pulls out a little, like, a little, like, paper wrapped sweet, and it's like, "Do you need a piece of candy?"
Damn it.
Yeah.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Yes.
She
Nicola.
pats you on the head, which is a little awkward because you're very tall and also it's very clanky. She's just like, "There you go."
I still appreciate it.
Somewhere in a galaxy
She
far,
tilts
far
her head and
away.
says, and then she kind of like, makes like a waving gesture, and she's like, and don't worry about it being like a dead or nothing. That's just what grannies do.
Thank you.
Grandma Goblin.
Okay. That's interesting.
What, you don't think I could be a grandmother?
Oh no, I think you're. No, I wouldn't have not have said that out loud because I think Nicola would know. But
Unfortunately,
Nicola
Dallas
would
is
know
this
better.
is the point where Enos would unabashedly flirt. Oh.
No, Nicola would.
Why do you want to make more?
Will, no, dude, you will be broke from child support. You don't, just don't.
Good
No,
thing child support doesn't
Dallas is
exist in this
interested.
world.
Dallas is interested because he has traditionally heard of goblins referred to as aunties as opposed to grandmas.
That's why I'm the boss.
You know that checks out. Okay, I'm putting that in my
Right.
notes.
I'm
Now
lost going
watch
down
out for
memory
us
lane on my
goblins.
end.
Whenever the queen, when she needs something stolen or found, or she needs somebody pushed down a flight of stairs, or needs somebody's throat cut, she calls us.
I need someone's stairs cut.
Hopefully, the only reason she'll have to call me is good things.
Okay, I'm gonna mute
Do
myself so I
not
start
plan
comment.
on getting on her bad side.
Actually, I don't mean to
Very
interrupt-
few people plan on it.
True
I
enough.
don't mean to interrupt the flow, but when we get the scene done, can we take a break?
Yeah, it's about break time.
I'm done.
I'm. No, I think I can. It'll probably be like a day, at least Nicola will insist on at least a day of bed rest for Lady White, so we can get some more scenes with Georgette in. Because even after the wild hunt goes, the queen told her to stay here and looked after Lady White.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we can wrap that up and take a break.
Yeah.
And energize everybody. We have been going for about 2 hours. It was a little tense. This is about where I wanted to break Skeet off.
Okay.
And I won't. I will say this to Axe. I know you're trying to get out of your funk, but I'm not going to make you try and solo role play with like the 4 most powerful people in the realm.
I more think we're having a conversation about stuff, but like just give me any decisions. Just tell me the decision points that need to be made, and I'll go from there. Just we don't have
Summarize
to
it.
talk it out.
All right. But I'm gonna pause the
All
recording.
right, I'm pausing
for a bit.
my recording. Yeah. All right, we're back.
We're back.
Sorry, taking a cleansing breath. Dallas,
Yep.
you had a thing.
Oh yeah. After I checked in with that, I would make sure to check on Alestra. And then make sure she's okay. And just be like,
Nicola, roll empathy.
Alright.
Sense plus
Empathy,
empathy.
cool.
Because Alestra insists she's fine.
Alright.
Oh no.
Okay, so when I asked, I wasn't given a chance to make an empathy roll. Should I have like forced that or something?
Oh, sorry. I kind of, without even needing to make the roll, I kind of assumed that you picked up that, like, didn't I say she looked a little freaked? I don't remember.
Well,
I
she
thought
said
I
it
thought
was
I did.
physically.
She said, "I'm, perfectly fine," but I thought it was clear for roleplay that she was looking a little freaked out because she was, like, physically a little. I'm making Nicola roll because now it's been like over an hour, I think.
Okay.
Okay, you got 2 8s. I was gonna say, and did he whiff?
No. Remember, I
Two
took
eights.
empathy once I started courting people. It didn't help,
Yes,
but I
so
took it.
Alestra is still saying she's fine, and even now it is still apparent, because you succeeded on this roll, that she is a little, I don't know if we would really say freaked out, but like, she clearly is still a little distressed and concerned about what went on. And I would say, because I did have you roll empathy in this case, it's not necessarily just like being attacked. There are multiple things going on.
Well, I'm going to sit down next to the bed, and I'm going to offer her a seat next to me, and then I'm going to pull her into a hug.
She
Because
kind of
it's
seems a
been
little
long
surprised that this
night.
is the direction it went, but yeah, she returns the hug.
Do you want to tell me what happened, or do you just want to relax?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Not sure. Sorry.
She kind of like pauses a second to pick the right word, but she does say, I killed those attackers, but she kind of like holds up the end of her like she was wearing like a string that Nicola, and then all the rest of you knew. It's just that Nicola's the one having this conversation right this second. You know that she had a dragon tooth amulet, one of the several pieces of dragon bone samples Inos collected from the Shadow Pass. She was wearing a little like tooth necklace. The tooth is like gone off the string. But I did. Yes, I killed them. But that's not all. It's also. She kind of like leans back a little from the hug and does like look you dead in the eyes, Nicola. She's like, it's also, kind of punches you in your good shoulder. It's you big bloody idiot, you big lummox. What do you know about fighting fires?
Points to water elemental.
I actually don't know where that guy is.
He's still downstairs. No, he's still downstairs. I would not take him into a...
I just imagine him just standing in the courtyard, arms spread, doing that pose in the thunderstorm, just like, yeah.
You're right. I ran off without thinking. I don't know.
You do that a lot. I know you're concerned about people, but there's... And don't... She holds up a finger, kind of like almost accusing him, like, and don't make me recite them because I don't know, but there's procedures and processes for this. You could set up some sort of aid station or something and ferry people through. Don't need to go gallivanting around yourself.
No, you're correct. I should have sent my elemental and stayed in the keep. You're 100% right. I just sometimes make rash decisions when it comes to safety.
She kind of like tilts her head and like has like a little bit of a sad smile on her face and says, only when it comes to other people's safety. You're not concerned about your own safety enough.
That's fair.
Yeah, she kind of squeezes your arm and says, Nicola, you matter too. Not just to me, but also you're important. You're Sir Dr. Nicola. The men out there, they know you. They're familiar with you. Inos was hurt. That's pretty bad. But I'm going to admit, I don't think Inos would be less hurt if you were here, if you know what I mean. More so that you just could have helped him sooner. Well, helped him at all, but that's both your own tomfool stubbornness.
Thank you. I think...
And then it's
Thank
not
you.
just that, she kind of cuts you off as you're saying thank you.
Oh.
But also, Nicola, something very wrong happened here tonight. And I'm not just talking about whatever because you guys still don't know, because I think everybody who would have looked at the Kerberoy left. So that's going to be email tells you that shit in the morning when I run up the scoreboard. Not just whatever monsters were summoned tonight, but also that cultist, that sorcerer. She did unnatural things. Summoned flame. I think she threw her blood at me at one point. Like a knife.
Can I make a knowledge occult on that?
No, this would be knowledge sorcery if you have that.
I do also have that.
You may attempt that. Knowledge occult is like, that is not an occult field.
I do know.
Thank God you're not
Occult is
asking
like, folklore, superstition, actual like esoteric hidden knowledge.
Thank God you're not asking me any command-related skills, because I have one, and it's perform, and that's literally it.
I mean, I only know like 4 command skills besides the 2 swords.
I mean, it's still, there's some of them are decent.
My knowledge is, okay, I have a lot. So
I
He is
figured
the brain guy.
that's why I'm curious. I'm like, I know you have a lot, but
okay, I'll read them out.
Lore can also be used for like folklore and common knowledge. Occult is like I should also specify. Occult is kind of like actual like I said like hidden knowledge about like superstition and stuff. Like
Oh, all right.
the scholarly study of spooky things. You know, some of it will still be folklore, but lore is also kind of like a catch-all skill sometimes.
The ones I have more than 2 points in, i.e., the ones I have like 3 or more in, is herbalism, chemistry, alchemy, engineering.
okay.
The ones I have 2 points or less in is occult, lore, sorcery, and monstrum. I have 1 point in monstrum, 2 points in the other 3.
Okay.
A little bit.
I have a lot of
Go ahead and
I have a knowledge of 5, so that's why I haven't taken many more points.
He is the brain guy. But yeah, roll him out.
Yeah.
A
Once
shallow
again, I
light.
still have
And that's actually something I
command
should
of
remind you
one.
guys of. If you don't have a specific student of skill, you can always try and roll lore if you have like a general grasp of knowledge. It's just that usually there's difficulty, whereas if you have a specific student of skill, you can get away with just rolling with no difficulty. Any success works. But 9s, okay. So, Nicola, if you didn't know any better, you would say that you know throwing fire at people, assuming it wasn't pyromancy, which, you know, you believe that Paz Oro discovered a little. By the way, Paz Oro is having a sleepover in the castle, but don't worry, Aurelia will tank that for you. You guys don't need to worry about that one.
She'll draw aggro.
Yeah, basically. Because she was
Well,
on the
it's not-
drawbridge when they ordered it closed up, so...
It's not aggro. It's I was gonna go look for her after this, but I also can't leave. So I was like, man, Nicola really
Well,
wants
you
that
can
skill
leave,
or-
but you would have to explain yourself to the slightly disappointed goblin lady.
Yeah, and I don't want to disappoint the goblin lady.
Just say you're gonna step out for a little bit.
Yeah, she's grandma. You don't want to disappoint grandma.
But yes, so if you didn't
Grandma
know
will
any
also
better,
break your knees
throwing
if you do it. So
throwing fire sounds like dragon sorcery. Hydra's is the throne associated with blood, but also as a group, you guys have been studying dragon sorcery kind of, you know, in depth. Inos in particular has, you know, dug up every bit of common knowledge he could find in books to try and unpack dragon sorcery because he has been, you know, trying to mentor Alestra ever since you accidentally cottoned him onto this secret scheme. To remind everybody that that's how that went down.
Can I have Nicola try and put 2 and 2 together? That Dallas
Well,
has
that's what
put
I'm
together.
saying, like-
Can I let Nicola have a little bit of a brain thing? Because I just thought of something. So am I allowed to put that into that character?
Well, you can say what theory you have, and I'll see if your
So,
knowledge roll supports
sister,
it.
What if the snake cults? What if that's not a snake? What if they've managed some twisted form of dragon worship and are using some weird twisted form of dragon sorcery?
Alestra kind of like pauses, and you know she kind of narrows her eyes a little, and kind of like again clutches at her
very
neck
much
where that
yes.
amulet would have been, and kind of went like, I don't know, but I sort of feel like that's correct. There was something wrong about it. Aunt Yibo didn't say anything, but she, the sorceress, gestured at her, and I think made her unwell for a second. You know, she'll recount the anecdote from the moment, which was that the sorcerer just, you know, pointed at her and said, you know, castigate, and Yibo had a little bit of a bad time. It was all shock damage, so she's fine. But yeah, you know, Alestra kind of like describes her feeling of just like, it's still pretty early, and I don't know how much, you know, Nicola, you can try and interrogate a little, and I know that Enos will come back to this later, and
I'm
we'll
not
probably
going to
jump to that sequence
interrogate
later.
her
But
right now. I'm in full
Okay.
comfort mode for her.
okay, so that then probably we'll get this more technical discussion later. But she basically describes that, like, to put it in short, she got so like offended, incensed at whatever these guys were doing with magic that just the fucking turbo mad the dragon, that's what I was gonna say, the dragon sorcery just like came out of her, and like she did something that like, oh, would she say it? Yeah, I think she would. Like she trusts her brother, and I don't think Alestra picks up on all the tension between Nicola and Inos there, but like Inos and Alestra have like speculated on some ideas to try and like do weird stuff with dragon sorcery that nobody's ever tried before, because you guys have the knowledge of the North and stuff. But Alestra would be like, but Inos and I haven't figured out any way to like test it. It's all just a concept. But she kind of leans in a little and she's like, I used attune sorcery temporarily. Speed, claws, scales. And I don't know. It just kind of like welled up from deep inside. So I think you may be right that they are.
Yeah.
They have some kind of twisted, perverse understanding of dragon sorcery that they misuse. Again, I don't think you've ever seen your sister quite like this, Nicola. I don't think Inos is also to say Elizabeth Alestra. Like, she is personally offended by this in a really weird way that even she can't seem to put a finger on.
The soul lingers.
I have a theory, if you would hear. Perhaps what happened, because all of the sorceries are tied into the gods. Perhaps what happened was so incensing,
Offensive. Just say
very
so offensive.
offensive. Thank you, voice of Enos in my head.
Show to Enos.
Gently, Enos hands you a thesaurus.
To Hydrus, that he channeled, or you channeled his annoyance into being able to reach further into the sorcery.
It may be true,
Because-
but I'm not sure. We'll discuss it on the morrow.
I don't know. Yes.
We should all go to bed. She kind of leans over to the bed and she's like, I'm sorry, Lady White, for disturbing you at this time. Lady White's just like, don't worry about it, child. I'm perfectly all right. I'm relaxed.
No.
I'm moisturized. I'm in my lane.
I just imagine like Hydrus is
God
just
damn
like
it,
you
you
see
made
what's
It's like,
happening.
I got my favorite goblin with me.
Bitch, what?
I'm just imagining Georgette like reaches into her bag of tricks and just pulls out like an apple and like puts it on a plate and hands it to Lady White.
Oh no, you must keep me away. I don't say that out loud. I'm not
You gotta be
that
careful.
corny.
You gotta be careful. She might throw the apple at you.
I'm not that corny.
I'm gonna tell you, Georgette Iron Hands has a mean fastball.
I'm sorry, what?
We're gonna invent fairy baseball. Crazy.
Oh my god, that's the exact scene I imagined.
Pointy teeth and all.
Oh gosh.
It's a thing.
Never. Don't mention space
Anyway.
pirates around her. It's not a no. We're not doing that.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, I think it's a good
I
point to
will-
wind that in. So, like I said, I was going to do kind of the post-game scoreboard, For Leslok, the High King and his gang don't probably keep you up too late, The Marquess of Spada does eventually probably suggest that just like, well, now that I have, turned the Fairy Queen on this path, we should see what the results of that are before we finalize our thoughts. But,
Yes.
we need to stay grouped and everything. And, everybody kind of adjourns for the evening. So the next day, after some hours later, because, like I said, Konrad goes and collapses and sleeps. Don't know how Logesh feels.
Great.
Inos probably wants to get some fucking Zeds.
I'm fine trying to, I guess.
But
So we get that.
everybody kind of like, like collects up and like I said, like tallies the score. So you guys lost, like I said, about half a dozen men killed outright, another half dozen men injured. Like all in all, not too many losses, but still lost a few of the guards. There are probably a couple of minor injuries from the firefighting and the scuffle that resulted. You guys have the corpses of 20-ish, between 20 and 25, snake cultists on your hand. They are all dressed in, like I said, coarse, rough spun fabrics of robes and tunics, hoods and masks and all that are kind of in the deliberate inversion of the church colors. And if anybody, I can give you a little forensics again because I don't want you to be spent all night like rolling for certain clues. They do not appear to have any maker's marks. They are probably made by like handmade by like cottage industry or something. They are not like none of these fabrics seem to have gone through like a proper guild process.
What are they made of? Sorry. Just
Like I said, like rough spun fabric, like
Okay.
probably like a coarse like linen or cotton.
Okay.
Like not very high quality, but something tough, resilient. Definitely lower quality than church robes would normally be made of, but they're made in the same style, and like I said, they're in deliberately inverted colors. Their knives are all like again very, very simple. They don't have any Smith's Guild marks. They are usually probably like not even steel. They're iron. They are definitely also knives, like probably within shock plus 1K type stuff. But they all have little coily snake marks, which probably also acts as like a reservoir to like hold the poison. Sorry, I forgot her name for late. The Lady Warden, Countess A, would probably remark that means that these guys must have been supplied by somebody local when they got here, to profile these guys for what province they're from. The cultists look like they're from all over. Like they are. Some of them are kind of like tanned or even like darker skinned, like they're from Celticy or maybe the Islas. Some of them look very very Miluese. None of them look particularly Norlish. Like no like super pale blonde hair, pale blue eyes kind of thing.
I will get it from people that are like of like the down, I guess the bottom of the pyramid kind of thing.
Yeah, they have the builds of like. Well, actually, now that you say that, a lot of them have like the markings of like working class guys, farmers, late day laborers and stuff, refugees even, but all of them seem to be remarkably like fit, like they're not malnourished or anything. And some of them are described as being, when you run back the testimonies, some of these guys are described as pretty agile. The guys who attacked the causeway, the drawbridge when it was down, like jumped up out of your moat. The moat is like scrambled up. The moat is not water, it's a dry moat, but it's paved with stone, and it's probably like at least 6 feet deep, if not deeper.
They're trained.
So like, yeah, these guys are trained. Like they aren't armed with high quality tools. All the quality seems to be in the training and the discipline. But what I was gonna say, the Lady Warden says that these guys probably had to be supplied locally because she would let you guys know, and Nicola can back her up medically with his knowledge. Snake venom doesn't keep very long from the snake. It's biological, so it degrades after a while. That you guys can probably assume may have come from their contact with the syndicate. Everybody finds out about Mariposa Marsh. You collect her. She is wearing, like level 2 armor, like AR2 type armor. But again, it's magic. It's armor of names. So like there are like scribblings of like occult names and phrases like under the plates and slats in it in an ink which can only have been mixed with blood.
This is a dumb touch. I assume there's like, did any of my bullets like stay in her fucking armor?
No, I bounced clean off.
Okay.
Like they flattened and fell off. You do see the marks in her armor where it stopped the bullets. Like they're not it's not unmarked by them. You also probably see some points where some of Enos's knives either penetrated or did not penetrate and bounce off, because I think at least one of your knife throws rebounded, no damage.
I think so, yeah. I don't remember, but
She is like having a hood. She's wearing like a domino mask as well. She was wearing a rainproof traveling cloak, which is similar to ones you found in Yuktman house. That kind of like, tanned and cured like big lizard skin they get in Lagartia. They skin the Varanus. And it's an all-weather cloak they like to use in the mare cages and import. She has the Calamitous Blade. She summoned it back. You're gonna have to talk to somebody about that. She did have a quiver full of arrows. Those arrows all have little. Also, by the way, again, in the light of day, when somebody goes out there to find this, it's real freaky. There's like, what did I get? Like 18, I think was the number, because it was like 3 times height is the max number of targets.
You got
So
3 of them,
like,
yeah,
like there's just like 15 or so arrows just stuck in the wooden walls of the inner keep wall. And all of them, like I said, are like wrapped in little scrolls that have little, like, again, nonsense, names and phrases on them. She also probably had some boot knives, but you guys don't care about that. She is, I regret to inform you, no mysterious diary that explains her whole plan. No weird half-burned maps in her back pocket. None of that. Like, proper OPSEC. She does have around her neck, I think, just to give you a physical token of some subplot stuff going on. She does have a old, more crude-looking signet type ring that has the old Venom seal in it, which is a crocodile.
Yeah, I thought so. She was.
So she has a little ring for that. Also, by the way, you have a dead Kerberos on your front lawn. It's a 3-headed dog. It's about the size of a rhinoceros.
Is there
I think at this point,
is there anything special
Banded
about
hide?
its, like, about besides, I guess, its hide itself, or I guess how big its teeth are?
No, it just seems like a really big dog. Like
Fair.
now that it is dead, its supernatural malice appears to have left it. They're not
I think-
poisonous. They're not, magical. This one didn't appear to possess any flame affinity that it used against Inos.
I like to think that as soon as we see that, everyone just turns to look at Enos like, dog, huh?
And so, like, Inos would just be like, it is a big dog. I spoke no lie.
Yeah, it's just
Bigger
Tell
than
me
you'd
why over
expect.
mission.
I think huge. I think huge is a better word.
It is pretty big. It's pretty
It's a
bulky.
big walker.
Let me find some place to burn it.
You're gonna have to add your Minotauros to that as well. You recover the corpse of one Minotauros, one bull-headed devil, in 2 pieces. Moira clean cut the head off.
I guess we could stuff the head. I guess maybe. Just
So it's a
get rid of
big
it.
it's a big guy, He lost his nose ring because Moira fights dirty. One of its horns has been sheared off.
Ouch.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about that. It is wearing and this is probably honestly, like I said, I suspect your characters are probably a little freaked out to think about this. So that guy, that bull-headed guy, right? Bull-headed devil, he had a double-headed black bronze axe. Okay, that's fine, sure. We accept those. By the way, that's like, let me actually double check. I think I put it in the known bestiary. But I think it's a pretty big fucking axe. Okay, no, I did not publicly post the Minotauro stats. I will post them just so you can think about it later. But it has a big axe. I will get you the stats for. Also, he was wearing a breastplate. Like, there's a piece of armor on this guy. Again, hammered out of, like, black bronze. Like, fitted and tailored to this guy. It's also,
How's that work?
especially Konrad, if you would want to look at it sometime, this suit of armor is ancient. It's like again, bronzed. It's covered in like a very like thin, but like it has a patina of age on it, which probably looks a little purplish. And it's like dented and dinged up from all kinds of stuff for like God knows how many years. Like if you had to like date how old this is like at least 100-year-old heirloom breastplate, probably older.
What do we know about Minotaurs and their intelligence in society?
You guys can go ahead. Some of those of you who want to know facts can go ahead and choose to roll me knowledge plus student of monstrum.
Going for it.
Time to sit back since I don't have that.
Apparently, I'm really into cow dudes,
So is X.
Almost.
I think
at
it
that.
just-
but not as into it as me because I got 3 9s somehow.
Three
No, he's got 3 10s actually. He's even
We
more.
got 3 10. Wow. I'll have to. No,
I think
I'm
it's
not gonna say
because
that.
beast inside labyrinth kind of thing, shit like that.
Well, honestly, you'd probably be more interested in the Kerberoy, because apparently that is a creature that, is, a creature that killed, God, I can't remember.
Logi Torchbearer's dad. I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Omega,
We got it.
Can we do 3 10s for the Kerberoy, 6s for the Minotaur?
That's fair. Yeah, you can assign those sets how you like. I already had the Kerberoy stats, but to remind them, a Kerberoy is a legendary hound, which are once the guardians of the underworld. They are supposed to be guarding the gates, doors, and walls of the ancient underworld. They're huge. They're as big as a rhino or an elephant. They have dark spotted fur like a leopard. They have 2 or 3 heads, which gives them superior senses and intellect for a monstrum. They can multitask. They have keen sight and smell. And it is said in legends that so long as one head survives, you cannot kill them. So, by the way, Inos, very good plan to fill all locations with killing all at once.
If we bury the fucking Kerberoy here, will it spirit guard our crypt?
I mean, if you would be the one to ask about that, Inos? That sounds
Do you want to roll like
reasonable.
No,
that sounds
no,
okay, I
no,
guess.
Enos is going that because, like I said, Enos does not feel great about killing the Kerberoy, as, this is...
Get back to work.
Listen, it was gonna kill you. Yeah,
It was going to kill me. But it's one of those things of, like, it's a garden in the underworld. Enos killed it cleanly.
Yeah, it's
So-
a fully rated
Respectfully.
demonic beast. You know that honestly, it's really lucky that this was mostly a personal combat because they are said to have a dread presence. Their growls and keens are like deeply terrifying. And again, they have a morale attack 5 every round, but has no effect on creatures already aligned with the underworld. Like living humans usually find them deeply terrifying. Sometimes they have a flame affinity, and other rare ones have a frost affinity. This one didn't appear to have any particular elemental aspect, or if it did, it didn't use them on Enos.
Well, let's...
But yeah, they are underworld
Enos
guardians.
would insist that we actually inter the Kerberoy deep in the ground and pay our respects to it, and maybe its spirit will protect will watch over us from the other world, from the other side.
Like you guys can come to your own conclusions about Mariposa Marsh, but from what you know of how the pact works, and clearly she had to be pacted because, again, when you talk to Enos about it, it's like she summoned it out of thin air.
Mhm.
Like literally conjured it to her from a great distance, probably. The pact requires you share names, so she went out of her way to learn this guy's name and give him part of her name.
I mean,
So, like,
fucking found it.
they were partners. That part probably has to do with the mystical support structure of the Witch Lords and stuff. Maybe the Syndicate has some old artifacts.
I know Omega went to take a drink, but just the little echo from his from his cup or whatever.
Bane! It's me and my glass bottle.
I would probably at this point, because this is still like first thing in the morning, right?
Yeah, this is just I'm summarizing a team meeting, and if it can wait, I want to talk about the Minotaurus as well.
Okay. Fair enough.
Minotaurus, also called a bull-headed devil, is a bipedal devil with the head of an ox or a bull. Has 2 horns. It has sharp teeth, like you can check in his dead head. It's got sharp meat-tearing teeth. Bad attitude, thick haunches, hooved feet. Huge muscle. They're as tall as a mountainkin, so as tall as what you call a giant. They're tough. They wield huge axes, and they have black and bronze breastplates. They were once the guardians of the walls and halls of the very depths of the underworld, possibly even Pandemonium, the city of demons. And to this day, they are said to still guard the shores of the 7 rivers of the land of the dead and the other side. Others, though, were said to have been stranded or abandoned deep underground or in dark places of the world. And it's said, according to legend, that should you ever stumble into a Minotauros in its, ancient haunting grounds, they're very, very mad. They have terrible tempers. They are full of wrath and violence, and can attack anybody, even their own allies. These rampages often fuel their carnage. Mystically, every time they inflict a point of damage, they heal a point of damage. This breastplate, like I said, that Konrad examined, if you think about Monstrum lore, Leslok and Nicola, this breastplate could be pre-Calamity.
Oh.
Like, you don't know where they found this Minotaur. They might have just, poked around to the right place and found an ancient burial ground that was complete with unemployed, threshold guardian.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's, you account for the Minotaur, the Corboroi, and Mariposa Marsh. There is no sign of Braith Hammerland. He appears to have strongly vacated the premises.
Can I roll anything to know about him?
Do you think we should bury the Minotaurus also?
Inos,
I think the Moira kind of says, I think we might want to go for cremation.
No, the Minotaurus is too angry. Its spirit probably would be as well.
I think Moira kind of just nods sagely, like, because she doesn't understand what the fuck Inos is saying, but she agrees anyway. She's just like, told you he was tough, he was angry.
What he said.
I'd recommend, what did my old Gramp say about this sort of thing? He meant about wild animals like boars and bears, but yeah, should, burn him, bleach the bones, bury them facing, was it west or east? She kind of looks at, the Minotaur's like head and is like, no, maybe we should bury him pointing, and she gestures up at, the looming shadow of Fjoliv, the Mountain of Life. Bury him facing that way. If you're not gonna display it somewhere, we should probably, she gestures at the axe and the breastplate and be like, we should probably, leave his things with him. Even if he was angry, they were his, I guess.
There was one point where he was not angry.
Leslok?
Long ago.
Oh, sorry, your lordship? Yeah, she forgets to say Leslok's title for a second. She's like, you're reading. So, like, is he, like, born with the axe?
Oh my gosh.
Does it come?
Be born with the armor.
Is it a prepackaged
I
deal?
mean, like, as far as the way the calamities work, right? Like, because this is a demonic tier beast. Is kind of, yeah. Like, the descriptions are not always specific, but Dea Tacita threw open her gates and let all her spooky, scary guys out. So, like, she might have created him whole cloth, armor and axe intact.
I mean, they might have. I mean, that's all I understand. I mean, he could have just been woven with the armor and his weapon from ether when the calamities happened.
Yeah, he definitely needs him back.
Yeah, no one.
But like I said,
very good with it.
no, I don't think there's anything you would roll about Braith
Monster
Hammerland.
not age.
Maybe not this one. He's demonic. He's different.
I don't think Monstrum are.
He's not even from here.
I don't think Monstrum are born. I think they're formed. Right?
Well, some of them seem like they're born.
We never got an actual. Someone never actually got a testimony of how a monster's been.
Well, no, we know the Monstrum spawn. Remember, we found those 3 egg chambers.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
that
those
was
guys
a
did start small.
That was a-
abnormality. But I mean, being born created, I mean, doesn't necessarily mean like physically, like we are.
True.
But I was gonna say is this may have come up in the conversation last night, or it comes up now. Because like I said, I think at some point the boys are gonna all wake up and you're gonna start having a group huddle.
Yeah.
The summer court is adjourned, and obviously in order to make timely shipping back, the High King can't delay too much his travel plans. But there is enough time to kind of reorganize and go on. Marin will probably to be departing as soon as possible with their pact, because Lady Marin needs to get back to her ships and make sure all her captains are awake and start preparing escorts for the High King back, and also get you guys those boats you requested for that stuff. Get those guys.
And stuff.
But Lord Espada can kind of elaborate. I won't do roleplay voice again for this because I did it last time. But he basically explains that Braith Hammerland, or Bomber Hammerland as he knew him, is... Oh, God, what would be the... I don't know what the, late Renaissance, era term for, a terrorist would be. He's, a rebel, an insurrectionist?
Anarchist.
Probably an insurrectionist, because
Yeah, I don't even know.
It would be a terrorist because, or I mean, you could call him a terrorist because that word originated in Spain, which I feel like is the vibe of Espada. Is terroriste.
He might say terroriste because that sounds neat. But yeah, an
By the way,
insurrectionist.
the reason I know this is the stupidest thing ever. I know this from a Jonah Hex comic.
That's so funny, and so you, Dallas. But Espada would not quite say an anarchist, because while he is kind of that, he does seem opposed to government. It's a little more broad. But yeah, he knew him as kind of an insurrectionist and a general rabble-rouser. Allegedly, he was from the Medius territories, the Medius Mountains territory that are no longer officially governed. There are always, rumors that there are basically wild folks, who do not follow the king's laws, who are up in the foothills, minding their own business. They cannot be very large because they can't. Being in a non-governed province, they don't have the ability to work with trade guilds and pay or collect taxes and other stuff. And obviously, the king's law does not apply to them, kind of a thing. And generally, the Harpuya are kind of left to decide what they want to do. So if you cause too much trouble in the neighborhood, a bird lady might eat you.
Uh-oh.
But
He's
he's supposed to be in the Medius region. And when Marquess Espada, Duchess Cheval, and the High King were younger, when they were starting out their more adventurous careers, Braith Hammerland was a guy who occasionally cropped up, leading criminal elements and stuff, bombing government buildings with like fire sand, or what demon fire he could scrape by stealing. Other pyrotechnics, because I'm sure there are some of them.
Pyrotechnics.
Trying to performing arson, much like you guys saw the other night. Setting fire to grain storage and stuff. Just generally causing problems with the idea to allegedly show the weakness, both morally and pragmatically, of the crown, and to kind of discourage kind of central government actions. Not necessarily for independence for Medius, but definitely seem to be kind of like aimed at like overturning a few things. He did clash with Marquess Espada a couple of times, and that's why they seem to have personal enmity. Marquess Espada again says that he's like, last time we fought was like in the desert, and I took out one of his eyes and cut off one of his arms, and like, he disappeared over a cliff or something into the desert sands, and I was pretty sure he was dead, but he appears to have survived.
Somehow he returns.
And now he has some kind of strange prosthetic arm.
Oh, a fat ass looking motherfucker.
And has unusual abilities. I think privately Moira would probably confide to Inos whenever he's, conscious again that, like, she thinks that guy did some weird bullet stuff, like what, yeah, she would say what Aurelia does. Inos, did you get a soul-seeking arrow ever?
Oh, no.
Okay. So yeah, she would say it's like what Aurelia does. Like, not only was he supernaturally quick on the draw, and clearly, like, she describes, like, yeah, at one point he, like, faded into shadow and only came back out when I, like, cut the ground and physically separated, where his shadow was from the next patch of shadow. So, like, clearly he's doing freaky stuff. I will not make Inos roll any of his appropriate knowledges to let him get the idea that, like, this guy sounds like he's got some soul crafting. Like, he's talking to bullets. He's doing weird shit that, like, you don't know how to do with soulcraft, but could be lost lore.
So
there were rumors that there was some, not rumors, but there are old stories that there was some soul crafting developed in the Medius Mountains, especially because House Malleus used to be much closer with House Logi when they were around. But it would be very odd for him to kind of show up untrained. And then that kind of is that whole, left for dead in the desert thing.
Should we share this with all of us?
We'll see. We got a lot of other stuff.
Okay.
Any other questions anybody has for Espada or Moira about Braith Hammerland?
I don't think so.
Okay.
None that comes to my mind at the moment.
All right.
Yeah.
Then, as my last bit of information gathering, I'm going to. I assume you are going to interrogate the syndicate thugs you've got.
Oh yeah.
And the
Yes.
cultists.
And the cultists you got, yes. So the syndicate guys do not know a lot, but their strategy seems to be very ready to turn over what information they know and just, I
guess it's
you can't you will not be able to directly connect those guys to the cultists because it seems like they never like spoke to them or interacted to them directly.
Yeah.
The syndicate seems to be connected to like working with the cult, but they are separate. I think the punishment for arson would probably be like hard time in jail.
Yeah, because it's like
I don't
want to hang. I
Wasn't
feel
their
like
goal to murder? What's their goal to murder a bunch of people?
Well, I mean, if you want to put them on, I'm not going to say you're not going to win the case, but you could put them on trial for arranging the deaths of some of those Smith boys who died.
And also some of those people killed.
Like there were fatalities.
Like, because I don't mean to flex my watching way too many legal dramas, but like if you commit arson and someone dies because of it, that's murder. Or technically,
I mean, that's
murder.
that's
Murder
felony.
the second.
That's only the felony murder rule we have in our modern justice system. That's like pretty new. That's like less than 50 years old. Like
That's
you
true.
would have to draw a line through the judicial system that these guys are directly responsible for killing.
Fine,
Like
we won't hang them. I really
you know,
want
you
to,
could
though.
you could work on it, but it's not out there.
Well,
but to say what they say,
I wanted to do the framing of if they cooperate, their sentence won't be hanging.
oh, I mean, in that case, they are absolutely super. Like I said, that's these guys' strategy. Like, so you get the rough shape of the syndicate. the syndicate operates through a lot of compartmentalization. So these guys are ground level guys who don't know a lot. They were all brought in from ports in milieu. Like some of them were Lamp Clairboys left over. Some of them were for some of like the Ferretti ports, and kind of like just slowly made their way here. You know, when they were told by their bosses, their lieutenants and their captains, their capos. Oh, hold on a second. That's my headset telling to plug it in. So let me plug it in real quick. I'm sure the people... Well, actually, I don't know, because it kind of like cuts out the audio. So I don't know if the audio recording catches it saying please charging or not.
No, I didn't know.
If it did, you know, it rats me out. But, like I said, the syndicate is kind of compartmentalized. So these guys don't know, like, they can't name any important names. They could tell you some random addresses in like I said, in like Ferretti territory, but they're like, but by the time you get there, all those guys are gonna be gone. They know some of us got caught, they're gonna be gone. They're gonna pull everything out and they're gonna find some new place to hide. According to them, the syndicate does not actually have any base of operations in Norlon, not in Crag and not in Teine, because you guys beat up their future business partners. They were trying to set up a thing with the Flat Salt Gang and related guys. Yes. And the Highwaymen you guys ran into. Like, they were trying to recruit, because the way the syndicate works is they're kind of a loose alliance of organized crime. They are strongest in milieu, and they operate a little bit in the Islas and Celticy. And everything else they kind of subcontract. So they are in contact with the Ivory Isles Corsairs. You know, those guys, you know, capture, raid, steal from the northern coast of Norlon. I know that sounds slightly redundant. And they use their, you know, secret boat routes to transmit to them. They claim to be in contact with the Pirate Brotherhood in the Cauldron, who, you know, raid ships, steal stuff. When they need to sell that stuff back to the mainland, they go through the syndicate. And they have other contacts in other areas. These like bottom rung bozos do refer to the other guys as snake or serpent cultists, like straight up. They're just like, yeah, these guys are weird cultists. They've got some weird, you know. Actually, yes, no. I would say this: if you know, in the interviews, whether you're doing them personally or you're getting notes later, they call those guys Piganas. Like, they say, yeah, these guys have weird backcountry beliefs. We don't believe in any of that stuff, but they have access to money, whether it's like through donations or what. But they have cash, and they supply muscle for cash, and in return the syndicate hooks them up with stuff, poisons, drugs, food, whatever, relics, you know, smuggled, like illegal antiquities kind of a thing. So the Serpent Cult and the syndicate are separate, but they are allied. The syndicate is also allied with the Ivory Corsairs and the Pirate Brotherhood and some other names of some guys. You know, they talk about various groups down in Celticy.
New stuff for your corkboard.
Yeah.
Did they say anything where like a lot of the cultists anywhere where any of them came from, or never got said?
Nah, man, they come from all over. They're country bumpkins. They're from villages, you know, rural villages. You know, like up in the mare cages, or like the deep south of the grass sea. Some of them are from old Nahal, you know, shit like that. You know, you'll find them, you know, snake handlers, you know, prayer circles. They do this thing, what you call it? I think it's called theriac. They like drink poison, and they believe that they will be protected and weird shit. I don't know, man. I'm just here to make a lot of money, and hopefully not get dead. So the syndicate seem like criminal guys. Now, I'm going to tell you. The serpent cultists you've got. I'm not going to say that they don't talk. Getting them to make sense is hard. If they do talk to you, they mostly just like, what would it even be? Like, I'm not even sure they would like rail at their like, it's unjust of you to imprison them. They'd just be like, these are the kind of guys who are like, you cannot hurt me in a way that matters.
They think
kind
that,
of a thing.
They proselytize.
They do think that, yes.
Are any of them high, or are they all just like fully believe in the juju?
No, they are dead set believers, and like you got to really restrain them because like they will. Inos, before you roll that skill you want to roll, I would like you to roll empathy. Actually,
I put a knife in them. They're just gonna try to like cut their own throats.
okay, good. Yeah.
The ones did.
So, like, they will try and just, like, bite their own tongues out, you know, slit their own throats, whatever. Like, but also, they will try and goad you guys or your guys into just going too far and killing them. Like, they say shit like, you can't hurt me in a way that matters, and you go, oh, I can't. And it's like, yeah, that the point is they want you to overextend.
Saying extremely offensive stuff about Hydras.
All right. Well,
sure.
I'm
Not quite like that, but their religious babble is like to you guys completely insane. They speak about like, you know, the 100 crowns will give way to the crownless king. We are waiting for the rebirth of the world. We will be rewarded in the new world, you know, in the next world, for our faith and our patience. In this world, we are protected, you know.
I would like
Poison
to
doesn't harm us.
roll
Monsters cannot harm us, kind of a thing.
Student of religion to see if there's anything to what they actually are saying.
Okay, you can
At
roll
some
student
point.
religion to try and parse that. Yeah, at some end.
All right, that's it. I'm hitting them with the double whammy. They think there's poison will not hurt them. Monsters may hurt them. Blaze will not hurt us. But let's see what happens when I literally twist their soul against them.
Gonna reach
What you got in
inside and
mind?
just
Stain the soul.
Ooh, yeah.
What does that do again?
Well, I'm going to hit them with the double whammy, but Stain the Soul is basically, I'm going to basically twist their soul into giving them a craving. And their craving is going to be make Inos happy. What's going to make Inos happy? Them telling me what I want. And then on double that, I'm going to hit them with compulsion, which will give them the mission to tell the truth.
So you know what this is?
I'm gonna watch.
Enos
I would
is
like it if
doing
you
a
did not
fucking-
watch personally.
Enos is,
Enos
doing
is
a
like,
fucking-
guys, I'd like it if you didn't watch this part, but I'm gonna hit him with some shit.
I'll come back after you do the thing.
Yes, no,
I'll-
let
I'll
me
be-
do the thing to them, and then you can come back. But in the process, I would appreciate it if you did not watch.
So while
Enos
you're
is
working on that,
basically
'cause that'll
just-
take you a few moments of casting.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, Loth. Konrad, you listen to these guys. What these guys are saying is like entirely contrary to the Septus script. Like parts of it are just like I said, they're just random backwoods paganist religion. Like, I accidentally banged his desk. But like stuff like snake handling and drinking poison and like other stuff. At some point, they mention like animal sacrifice. Like they like you know kill chickens and spill their blood. They might also mention that
Yeah, definitely Paganos.
yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but there's a lot of exposition going on, Loth.
It wasn't just you. Don't worry.
But like you do probably learn a fun fact that they think that pig's blood is unclean. But they you know do animal sacrifice, which is like that's what the phrase is paganus, you know, like backwoodsy. Like that's not supported by the Covenant and the modern interpretation of the Septus script. That's a thing that people did previously that is not authorized, but they still do it. So they have weird old country beliefs. The core of their faith seems to be the idea that the calamities were a deliberate attempt to unmake the world so that it could be remade. Which is like half true.
I mean, maybe
You're doing a great job
originally,
speaking
but
of
then, yeah, but then.
But then, according to what you guys understand, they stopped halfway. They basically think that the work is unfinished, and someday it will be finished. That is the idea of the crownless king. There is a crownless king, a king who is to come, who will replace Hydras's position. Oh, you really hit your desk.
I'm gonna have to mute it.
Be careful. Maybe get some. Yeah, go get some ice or something real quick. Run some cold water on that.
I just want to say, like, I get the logic behind that, but that's fucking insane.
It's not really.
It's a little crazy. Like, it's very contrary to what you guys have been taught. So they believe that like a new deity will rise to Hydras's position as blah 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 chief of thrones, and then when that happens, the current world or age will end, and it will become a new age, an age of faith where the faithful will be rewarded. They believe that they will be like taken into this next world and be rewarded there. So they don't really, psychologically, they don't really give a shit about their lives. That's why they're trying to go you into killing them.
I mean, I said it earlier, but I'm gonna bet you took a lot of cues from Wahhabism.
Not directly. I think mostly I kitbashed this from just like what I needed the plot to do, but it probably sounds similar to several real life sects, because that is kind of like where some of that higher level stuff comes from. So like I said, there are some like religious like half truths in this, Konrad. There are some things which line up with scripture, and then some things which are like either you are taught is their version. Oh, whoops. And you have stain the soul. You don't have compulsion yet. Womp womp. I mean, you can still stain the soul, so they get 10 days to make Inos happy.
Mm-hmm.
Which means mostly they take one penalty dice to not make Inos happy, because they are gonna try and fight it all they got, but they're gonna be bad at it depending.
Mm-hmm.
Because these guys are just unworthies, so they're gonna.
Then I'm gonna
really
use my
suck it up.
interrogation roll on them.
All right, get ready to hit him with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Konrad, some of the things they say are basically like religious half-truths. They are like kind of based in scripture. Some of them are like contrary to interpretations of scripture you've been taught or read. And some of these things are just like, you sound like they're just making that shit up. Like, well, what do you mean there will be a new age? What age is it now? We don't... You guys don't keep the calendar in like ages that way.
Yeah, at most we have before calamity and after calamity.
Yeah. And like I said, some of their things are just like legitimate, like forms of worship or belief that are just discontinued, and they've got a whole big jumble. But
will share his thoughts on this, and the major thing that Konrad's kind of noticing is like, this doesn't seem like the cult, like the type of cult that should just be able to do what they're doing, like trying to take out nobles and stuff. If there's backwoods like yokels.
I have a theory.
Why don't we have Inos roll his interrogate off screen, because he might actually get some real shit out of them if he gets that.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that we discuss it now. I was just saying that's what Konrad.
So these guys are normally. Sorry to say, I'm talking out loud. These guys are normally threat 3. I'm gonna say that because they are basically taking the equivalent of a minus die penalty, they are threat 2 for your purposes. So Inos, please roll your interrogate pool with a difficulty of 2.
Okay. Let's see here. This will do my duty. This probably does not deal with my craving. Wait, no, I think it was. If I can get the information out of the people, I think people would like that. Yes, no. I want to be useful. So yes, no, I do think my craving applies. If I like these people, I probably would take a penalty, but I don't like them, so fuck them.
Definitely like when you cast it on them, they're kind of like they're fighting it clearly because it's going against the urge of the stain the soul you did, but you know they're just like, what foul sorcery have you done, sorcerer? We're definitely not looking at your eyes.
So a paranormal.
Nines, yeah, that's
On
way
my
above the
expert
difficulty.
in-
Okay.
I have the skill expert interrogator.
So you lean on these guys a little. You probably play one man, good cop, bad cop.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing I will say, Inos, you get out of these guys is, unfortunately, they don't know enough. Much like the Syndicate thugs, they don't know a lot of high-level stuff. They don't realize they don't know a lot of high-level stuff. Like, they are dyed-in-the-wool zealots. These guys were originally recruited in the fringes of the mare cages. They traveled to Tron, where they were equipped with, you know, these robes and knives. It seems like they had, you know, like culty garments before. And, you know, hooked up with syndicate contacts to smuggle them into Teine. Because what they understand is that obviously, how should I say this? So I'll give you guys some extra information just again to let you guys add 2 and 2 together. When Inos gets this information back to Konrad and the others, you guys can add some stuff together and get a note based on Konrad's earlier religion roll. You think that this cult of the Crownless has a little bit of an internal schism. Originally, they were not militant. The way the cult of the Crownless worked is they were all about kind of like, I won't say like sacred suffering, but they were kind of like just, no, so long as you keep your head down, you pray, you perform our special rites, you know, snake handling scorpions, you know, drinking poisons, blood sacrifice, whatever. You know, so you also learn through this interrogation that these guys ritually changed their names. They gave up their old names and picked new names when they were initiated into the cult. If you do this, eventually the crownless king will come and the world will be reborn and you will be rewarded in the next world. These guys seem to be from a sect of that, a subsect of a sect, who are like, no. We do not just wait for the crownless king to make the new world. We will enact his plans by... Yeah, I'll be dramatic. By destroying the Covenant and, you know, letting the calamities into Troikaron. We will, you know, all men will be tested, and those who are faithful will become as kings in the new age of faith. You
So
also
they're
get the impression,
evangelicals.
Enos, through this interrogation, a lot of the guys who are in this cult are like, you guys don't quite have like untouchables, but they're from like professions or life standings that are like particularly downtrodden. They are like tanners, the equivalent of like, you know, sewer workers or manure merchants. The most bum-ass subsistence farmers. A lot of them used to be like these guys, actually, probably these specific two, since I said they came from like the fringes of like the mare cages and stuff. These guys were opium farmers. They were poppy farmers.
Oh.
Before they got indoctrinated into the cult. Like, some of them are refugees, orphans, etc. Like, they are the people who are truly not served by the current societal order. So somebody comes along and says, hey, have you heard about this cool guy called the Crownless King and how he's going to come and he's going to turn the world upside down? And if you're faithful, you'll be great in the next one, in the next world. So like I said, these guys are diehards. They basically always have that +1 threat bonus for morale. Like, they do not give a shit if they live or die, so long as they are doing their actions that they believe will bring about the age of faith and the coming of the crownless king. So they were told that they could attempt to, make an attempt on the High King, which they didn't really get to. They can try and disrupt the order. But also, they have been told that the Marquess of Logi is an enemy of their faith. Now, you don't know if they mean the last guy or they mean the current guy. Because, Inos, I'll let you come to your own conclusions, but you're pretty sure that they're not wrong that Leslok is an enemy of their faith, but it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy because you're pretty sure he's an enemy of their faith for the same reason that you're an enemy of their faith, which is they're out here killing people you like.
I do like people here, yes.
I'm glad to hear it.
I mean, like I said, speaking of moments of it, like Paz probably has remarkably little PTSD from lighting these guys on fire, but that's because she has a little bit of PTSD because I did mention it in the narrative. But that one young guard who was barely older than her that she talked to, he got a poison knife in the neck and is dead. He's one of the 6 guys who died. So yeah, these guys are how would I? They don't feel any moral compulsion about killing because it's basically. It's weird because they don't have any trappings of Dea Tacita worship in them at all.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of believe in sacred killing. Basically, if you're a bad guy and they kill you, that's your just desserts. They're just sending you to your punishment. If you're an innocent and they kill you, don't worry about it. You'll be reborn in the next world. Whoops. Like I said, these guys are hardcore indoctrinated, and you only get so much out of them in interrogating. But you do actually get them to kind of, like I said, spill the beans on what their plan was. They were, over the course of several months, probably around 3-ish months, maybe hypothetically slowly imported over several months after the High King announced that Summer Court would be in Teine this year, were gathered up, brought to Trone. In Trone, they were equipped with stuff. They're kind of vague about it, but it seemed like they learned how to knife fight kind of continuously throughout their cult indoctrination. They were shipped from Trone to Teine by the Syndicate. The Syndicate smuggled them in, moved them into town, and set them up. Armed them, with poison, because they believe poison is sacred because, like I said, they perform religious rites to consume small amounts of poison and are said to be protected by their faith. So, basically, when they try and poison people, they're going, skill issue. Any other kinds of questions you want to ask them? I'll let your set ride on that, Inos.
From what we understand, they're super mooks. Do they know anybody about the context that got them in here? Anything that can point us to
hierarchy?
Yeah, hierarchy and whatnot.
So they reported to what they call, and I will spell it, a Haruspex.
Haruspex.
Inos, do you know any Imperial?
Don't like that word.
Do I have Imperial? Let me double check.
If you have the Imperial language, yeah.
I
know I've been trying to pick up all the...
Yet,
yes, no, actually, I have 3 Imperial, because I think...
I have points.
Because I think that's how much Aramita has.
Yeah, and I know Leslok's been studying it too, so I won't make you roll because it's one word. Haruspex is an old Imperial word for a priest or an augur, like a diviner, attached to their legions. Like the modern equivalent of a military chaplain. So they called her a Haruspex. She was the one who had the detailed orders, discussed tactics with the Syndicate guys. That is the one who blew herself up.
Oh, damn.
They describe her as a miracle worker, a initiated priest of the Crownless King, a master of, they'll say it straight up, the path of the Crownless, a.k.a. serpent sorcery. Oh, their squad level commander was the sorcerer, and she destroyed herself with the sacred art of self-immolation.
Okay. So we've probably lost our major lead there, but we do know these guys are hanging out in the mare cages. They seems to be. Can I get an idea of how big their group is, like numbers wise overall? Ooh, excuse me. Jeez.
They claim to know hundreds of followers. But it's also hard to tell because it sounds like the cult is kind of spread out. Like
Yeah, I'm about to say, also they're like
word
in a
passes from guy to guy.
It's also kind of in a schism, so this actual fanatic militant side probably isn't the entire damn cult.
True, but also it's very hard to get a count, like a proper head count, because they are like spread out. You know, they exist in like loose networks who congregate. It sounds like they have some way of communicating that these guys don't know about. They just kind of, went to sermons, attended a couple of chicken killings, maybe were baptized in blood. And they handled some snakes. They drank some theriac, and which is theriac is the act of drinking poison as a sign of devotion. This poison will not kill me. That's different, by the way, before anybody says it, from Mithrandism, which is when you drink poison to build up an immunity. These guys might be building up an immunity by drinking up small doses of poison, but they don't do it to build up immunity. They do it because they're just like, I will simply not be poisoned thanks to my faith. And if you die, they're like, his faith wasn't strong enough.
It was not the one.
All right.
His faith in Emperor was not strong enough.
So numbers, location, hierarchy, all those are kind of dead ends. They say
The syndicate guys that because they the moment Leslok says, "Tell me everything you know, and I won't hang you," they're like, "Cool, prison for 1,000,000 years? That's better than being hanged. It's a living." They're like, yeah, these snake cult guys are like they're in the mare cages. They mention Nahal. That's the former territory of House Kaleri in Celticy that was taken over by Espada. And they're in some of them are in Tron, and they're in like the backwoods of like the Grass Sea that they know of. They're not in the backwoods of Ferretti because that's where them elves live. Those guys are weird in different ways.
Even they don't know. Even the crazy zealots know. Don't mess with fairies.
You hear them banjos.
Fairies!
Oh, I think they're more meaning that the weird backwoods pagan beliefs of people in Ferretti are probably different because they're probably more about the woodlord and the fairies.
Okay, but no, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. If they're mooks, they're mooks.
Yes, they are. They were unworthies. The only one who was a real one was the Haru Specs.
And she blew herself
Would
up.
I be able to ask them
invented a
question?
suicide bomb spell to solve this problem.
Would I be able to?
Sorry. While Inos is, doing... Well, no, Stain the Soul is absolutely heretical. Inos took damage doing that. That's one of the reasons why he didn't want you guys to watch him do it.
I mean, Stain the Soul is not necessarily heretical. It's just one of those things that's like ethically dubious. It's a thing you can do with Soulcraft, but like Soulcrafters and like Iron Demon priests are like, you probably shouldn't warp people's souls into the shape that you like. That sounds bad.
Yeah, Grant's mother doesn't like it either, but these guys were...
They're bad dudes.
These guys' souls were already twisted. I was just twisting them in a different direction. So...
Like, I mean, we can make our own opinions about, like, cult indoctrination and deprogramming and shit here, but these guys were joined into a cult and then joined a more militant sect, and at no point did they seem opposed to the idea when a blood mage handed them a poison knife and said, "Hey, you know what will speed up our group ascension to paradise? Stab this guy."
You know what you need? The Feast of the Corpse of Madness, the primeval man.
Thank you, Loth.
Just thinking back to
That's
that
not
fucking
quite
Dark Souls
this,
video.
but it's close. Sorry, I'm just thinking of how does it feel, Seath?
I was saying it's like no. What to do is feast off the scaleless flesh and see the scale.
Could I
Go ahead, Dallas. Sorry.
could I ask Enos to ask them a question?
I mean, this spell will last for 10 days, so
Okay.
You can.
I just wanna
I
know
assume that
if the-
so long as Enos doesn't just turn their guts to garters instantly, you have a few days to interrogate them.
I
I'm
just wanna
pretty
know
sure
if
these
the-
guys are fucking dead, but
I just want to know if the crownless king has a name.
The Crownless King.
Well, you know what I mean. That's an epithet.
no.
I
But
mean,
that's what
if
they.
he has a
That's
name,
kind of the response. I won't make Enos roll to interrogate because they're willing to set it. That's kind of the response you get back.
Okay.
It's like, no, the crownless king is the king who is crownless. He is the one who is to come.
Okay.
Like, I didn't
So,
say it
okay.
to make fun of you, Dallas. I'm saying, like, that's exactly
That's
what the
fair enough.
say.
I have a theory.
Oh,
if you're
wait,
willing to
I do
hear
know
it.
something else I want to ask them about. They might not know a lot about it, but tell me of their fucking the serpent sorcery.
Right, yes, actually, they did say that the Harspex is a serpent sorcerer. Oh, how would these guys describe it?
I know they're moog, but we have like no information on it, so
Yeah.
To them, in their minds, what they are taught and what they believe is that serpent sorcery is they call it the true miracle working. Like, I won't say they're like dragon sorcery, that's like cheap shit. But their arts, which they call serpent sorcery, or they call it also the road of the crownless king or the coils of the king. To them, it is a form of belief that is a proper miracle working. It is a form of sorcery that manifests properly when you engage in bloodletting, blood sacrifice, blood transfusion, when you perform acts of self-flagellation or self-sacrifice. They don't describe it the same way as dragon sorcery, but it does kind of sound adjacent to dragon sorcery. At some point, you'll talk with Nicola and Alestra about that's comments, and I think the conclusion you could come to is it almost sounds like a mirror, like the reverse, the inverse of dragon sorcery, because it's still tied to Hydrus's realm of blood, but it is much more about blood. Because they describe the proper miracle working as, their priests can turn their blood into weapons. They can command their and others' blood to burst into flame. They can... they wouldn't say it as speak in tongues, but they can speak in a hidden tongue.
oh shit, it is parcel.
They can drink life from their enemies. They can command Monstrum to be peaceful. Not necessarily to give them the commands like you can, Inos, but like they say they can command them to be peaceful. They can track people by blood, sense their blood, and again perform miracles of like Theriac. And if you perform the proper, a proper Harspex can also give you the blessings of blood. They can do some kind of ritual which makes people stronger or wigglier, more dexterous. These guys don't seem like they were directly buffed, but they're in the same neighborhood. And like they describe the rites that like the Harspex will do, and it's like I said, they do a lot of, like I said, self-flagellation, self-cutting, bloodletting, blood drinking, all the kind of stuff that like it seems like modern dragon sorcery is a little too or modern miracle working anyway, like the modern church method of it, is a little too, neck pull to try.
Mm. Okay.
I have a 3.
Well, I think I'm done asking questions for now. I can't think of anything else that comes off the top of my head. I guess
Because
I can't think of anything else either.
fucking mooks.
so,
One now.
do we know that, like, there was that whole God Civil War thing?
Yeah.
The war in heaven.
Yeah.
Yes,
Throne.
that. So, do we know the names of those gods that were ungodded?
We're working on that.
Yeah, no, okay,
Like,
gotcha.
and
It's on Enos' to-do list.
it's on the to-do list. I am making inroads into, I guess, I've plotted out the majority of the main deific family from Hydrus and the Moon Goddess and the inversion of Dea Tacita down. We have basically, we know most of them, but there are 2 that are specifically in that formation that are unknown. One is the many-armed goddess, which, honestly, I still need to figure out what she may have been created as the inverse to. I'm not sure. Maybe the builder? I don't know. On that. And then there is the last god, which may be on Deatacita's side, maybe something like the Ferryman or the Reaper or something. I'm not entirely sure. But just this is something that I've been having the realization to. Just because we have the throne gods, that does not preclude the existence of other gods.
Yeah, because, and I would say, because, and Nicola would say this probably with Alestra. That was power, and Hydrus did not like it. I'm willing to say that. Hydrus is not a fan.
Well,
So funny. Oh, sorry.
no, go.
Well, I was gonna lead into something about Alestra if we wanted to continue this line.
Well, Enos hasn't been debriefed on what Alestra felt in that time.
Well, that's actually what I was gonna do. So Konrad is going to, at some point after this, ask both Inos and Nicola, is Alestra okay?
I would have asked Alestra last night if she was comfortable explaining things, because I think everyone needs to know this. Would she be comfortable?
Yeah, she would eventually
explaining this?
explain it, because she's a very
Okay.
very dutiful, dedicated. So that would, I don't know if that would be in your prison necessarily, but at some point we're gonna have a team meeting to
this would not be in the
uncrunch
prison.
this and explain it.
Yeah, because I would definitely want her to be able to explain. I would let her lead the talk, obviously, because she experienced it. But
Yeah, I just before the explosion, I definitely remember scales and eyes glowing and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen her do that before.
no.
Oh no, yeah, that's not normally. That's and she
Well,
would
I'm gonna
explain
be
that's
real.
normally
I'm
a
gonna
tune
be
shit.
real, Konrad. Do you know what Alestra can do? Do you know the depths of her dragon sorcery?
Oh my gosh, she's
Heal?
a fairy.
Some of what she does.
Yeah.
I think she's lay on hands to you. You've seen her cast light.
Light and the other one. What was that thing? There's that one. I don't remember.
Well, she has a spell that she helped develop, the True Seeing, which is she sees like it's daylight, which is different.
Right, the glowing eye.
She normally I think she only has 1 or 2 more dragon spells, which I don't know if you guys have seen, which is actually no, I think you have seen her do. Oh God, it's not Hallowification. It might be Hallowed Ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
She did that
only
in,
saw her do that in
the Fog Veil.
The Fog Veil, yeah.
I think
We saw her in
after.
Hollow.
Well, I was gonna say Leslok, but I technically think it was Zach's slightly aside comment, she did eventually in the coming months pick up purification to purify water, but I don't think she's actually shown that one.
Yeah.
I'd have to double check if that's in her spell list. But yeah, those abilities that she describes using, and she would describe the circumstance, when she saw now you know the name, the Haru specs use her powers. She just felt like a incredible sense of offense, well up within her, and drew on a great power inside. And it appeared that she temporarily utilized normally attunement only dragon sorcery. I forget what the exact spells are called, but one of them scales, gives you 2 AR. One of them is claws, which gives you like +1 killing damage on your unarmed attacks and your fight attacks. And the last one is celerity, which gives you free movement and basically just gives you free dodge gobble dice, like for the spell duration. She knows what those were because she tells a story that was in Aurelia's Adventures, but I'll catch the characters up, which is that, like, one of the things that Prisca Ecclesia has been teaching her, besides, like, teaching her self-defense, close combat, and helping her, make sure she knows all her scripture, is she's basically been teaching her every, like, legend or folk tale or parable about dragon sorcerers there were. And those are, like, other than breathing fire, those are like all the basic shit that dragon slayers do, is like, become armored, weapons as claws, move fast. And so she doesn't exactly know like what triggered it. Was it specifically seeing the sorcery? Was it because of some ideas her and Inos have been discussing, but just didn't know how to apply them yet? Or what? Like Paz also has, figured out some sorcery stuff. That was her very carefully applying, everything she's been learning on her own and from Nicola writing her and figuring out, oh shit, I can cast Fireball. Like, Alestra's still not in character entirely sure what she did. I've kind of like revealed the hand a little about what the idea is, but she's still not exactly sure what she did or like how to do it again, for instance. She's pretty sure she could do it again. She just doesn't know how.
Well, we know that it consumed a bit of dragon.
Yeah. But so, I don't. You have an out in a little bit, so I don't know if there was other conversing about the sorceress angle of these guys you want to run through, or anything else about these guys you want to discuss.
I think so.
Because you got a lot of high level information. You got some details, but a lot of it is obscured.
I just have a theory that whoever this crowned king is may be a real person, real god, and not like a delusion. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this may have this feels like this might be real in terms of like a real bad dude.
Oh, you'll have to find out. I snapped my fingers though because I remembered. That's what I was going to say. So we got slightly, or I got slightly off track because we did decide to ratchet the conversation around to Alestra. But what I was going to say before that question was, Inos brought up, there are throne gods, and then there are probably things that are gods or god adjacent, which are not enthroned. And I was going to remind you that, one of them.
Yeah, the Fairy Queen.
It's the Fairy Queen, yes. She last night did at least a dozen impossible things. She is not, as far as you know, enthroned. She doesn't have, worshippers. You don't really know if she has to do the same kind of, like, job minding that gods do. But she is also clearly not bound by the same rules as her elves are. Case in point, Aurelia describing it in the environment, talking about how she, barehanded pulled the knife out of Lady White's back. Even touching it like that should have burned her if she was a normal fae, but it didn't. To say nothing of the fact that she broke another knife with her bare hands. So you do know that there are divine adjacent figures out there. And you know that there are empty thrones. Because you saw them. You guys saw the chairs. I'd like to remind everybody, you went to the top of the mountain, you saw the chairs.
Yep.
Yep.
And we had leaves fall.
Honestly, it sounds like we're kind of dust going a little bit. We're kind of winding down. Is there any other discussions as the group immediately after that interrogation we want to have, or do we want to leave that for probably a big coordinated bit together? What the fuck is my problem? Get together to discuss, what our next moves are when. Sounds like it's a good time to wind down and think about what our next moves are when. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, what's next? Let's see. I guess just.
Well, we have an entire trek around the thing, the prince. We have to.
Yeah,
escort.
I know that part.
Well, let's not. If you're not going to talk about it right now, let's end the session. I'm not going to have us dithering over nothing.
Yes. If we're in the phase where that's what we need to do next, and that should be its own thing, we will move to that next. And if it's not its own thing, I have the bits next. So that's going to be the session. Everybody was present, and everybody role-played, so go ahead and take 2 XP for that. You got your big climaxy schmighty moment XP.
Excuse me.
Actually, no. Take another third one.
What?
Because I wasn't necessarily counting on you catching those snake cult guys. That was good. You guys got some stuff early.
By the way, a question. Is my Gaius still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Permanent until it's broken.
Right.
And that's a forever oath.
I think it's also supposed to give you a bonus. I think it's just it's more just have it's more just gives you a craving that you get a bonus from using. So.
No, it's a duty, not a craving.
It's more honorable.
I believe it's get a passion. Because it can be anything.
Yeah.
But you gain the appropriate passion and you can get esoteric stuff to it. But yes, no, that's still there. That is a permanent effect on you. The Geisha. I don't think we... Well, technically we got to somebody's problem.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't remember.
Ironically enough, I had character development with an NPC.
It happens.
You got yelled at by a goblin matron.
Oh no, that wasn't the character development what I was talking about. I was more talking about my conversation with Alestra.
I know. I'm joking.
No, but I do now have a new grandma.
She did give you candy, pocket candy.
Yeah.
All right. And like I said, she's still hanging around, so there might be some more sequences to talk about later. But I don't want to chew or anything, as it seems like we are... As like I said, we're there's a little bit of dithering, there's a little bit of lost focus. I'm doing that weird thing with my hands that I don't need to do, where I'm just waving them wildly. So 3 base. Anybody complete a mission?
Nope, not me.
Nope.
I don't have one right now.
Yeah.
Nope.
You should figure it out. And work on your mission.
You should.
Okay. Already completed a mission. All right. Well, I think that is everything. If you're watching home, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time for the further adventures of Regan.